up with ink overflowing.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We have a phenomenal semi-final matchup for you. The second semi-final matchup between Team Blood Monies and Pickles on Pizza in a rematch of one of the most hyped series of the regular season, in my opinion. I'm Bully, joined by Matt here tonight. We have
Howdy.
an awesome series coming for you. Matt, how you feeling about this matchup?
I think it's going to be a crazy barn burner. I think either team could take it. It could be a 3-0. It could be a 3-2. I think it's up in the air. It's looking like, two hyped up bot lanes arguing to be, the best in the TCL. Though Tosi's going to give them a run for their money. But I'd say there's going to be a lot of focus there. Both mid laners have really shown up. It's going to be spicy there. And yeah, I think it's just going to be a really interesting matchup.
Definitely agree with you there. I think these have been two really competitive teams. The bot lane, yeah, obviously really easy to start with there. I think Tail Whip and Swiss were looking like the best bot lane in the tournament until they hit Speedy and Rudy and got absolutely smacked, right? Like that was probably the worst we've ever seen them look. Speedy and Rudy just looked insane, which has honestly been their trademark this year. They've been phenomenal. And yeah, you're right. Mid laners are absolutely cracked out of their mind. Blood and Waj both just descend the game into straight chaos. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really fun to watch. This was obviously a rematch of their matchup in the regular season, in which Blood Monies handed Pickles on Pizza their first and only loss. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep that same sort of dominance over this team and get the 2-0 on the season, or if Pickles on Pizza can get their revenge here in the semifinal match, the only match that really matters if you think about it.
They're still the finals, and they showed up. I think there's some possibility that the winner of this still loses. I think it's going to be a really exciting TCL finale, and this game right here too. Like this is pinnacle as well. These are going to be amazing games.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really hype. One thing, as we are still not getting into draft, we're working our way through the lobby. Is actually we are in picks and bans right now, so I'll hold my tongue. Uh, Blue side here is going to be Pickles on Pizza. Is actually interestingly enough, Blood Money's had side selection being the higher seed and elected red side. I think that's going to be a trend we'll see for the entire night with the Urgot band from Lost in the Sauce. First band, not really surprising.
Fair enough. I wonder what type of picks we're going to be seeing tonight because Blood's typically played kind of some assassins. Waj has been playing more poke mages. Oh, there's the Thresh band out. That's for Swiss.
Yeah,
He looked really good on that.
definitely going to see that ban away from Swiss. I think every game. I can't imagine Swiss gets Thresh at all. He's looked way too good on that. And the Zaya ban on blue side is interesting. That was one I thought could be contested, but right now Pickles on Pizza saying they don't want to deal with it game one.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
As we get into the next bands here, a little hesitation. Trundle definitely been, I think, the preeminent jungler across all games. If you saw our first semifinal series, you saw a lot of that champion because he is obnoxious.
Yeah. Has Espen actually played any Trundle? I thought that was more of a music channel.
I think he's played a little bit, but definitely flexible. Yeah, Music has played it. I think Espen has played maybe one or two games, but yeah, Music has
Hmm.
definitely put the brunt of that on this team. And Jarvan banned from Spurg, definitely his comfort pick right there.
Right. Yeah. I think I'd be looking for a Hecarim out of Espen. Like that's been predominantly his best showing. However, it did
Yeah.
get nerfed today.
Yeah, so there is a fresh patch today, which is interesting. This series was originally supposed to take place on the prior patch. If you watched our first semifinal, it did take place on the prior patch. And we have a completely new patch. So it'll be interesting to see how that switches some priority. Heck, as I'm being told by production, 45% win rate right now on solo.
Oh, that is
So yeah, maybe not heck. I don't know. I don't know. I'll be honest, I didn't read too much into the patch notes, but it'll be interesting to see how it shakes up the meta as we have a Mordekaiser on
oh
B1 for music. That's spicy. What do you think
yeah.
about that?
I mean, that's been a predominant good look for music in past seasons. I don't know if he's played it this season, but
I think he
yeah,
might have
he
like one game, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think it's a power pick. Not trying not to show too much of their draft yet, but I'd like to see how it turns out.
Yeah, interesting that they're committing top lane off the bat and Ornn is the answer for Bovie. That seems a little, I don't know. That seems like you're if the best answer you have to Mordekaiser is Ornn, in my opinion, you've already kind of accepted defeat in that top lane. Gonna be interesting to see. He's definitely playing from more of a scaling angle into the music, which is going to be, or the Mordekaiser, which is going to be a more aggressive look from music. Anything you're looking out for here in this draft, Matt? Any picks in particular?
Ooh, Nautilus from Spurg. Um, Man, I mean, I'm curious what type of pick Blood's prepped for Waj. Like, is he planning on playing some signature assassins, TF? Ooh, Sivir, that's a Tail Whip classic.
Yeah.
Just sit back and farm, play safe. It's good in the Nautilus.
Definitely good into Nautilus, and I love Sivir in game one in particular because I think all teams have this, but Pickles on Pizza in particular, when they lose, they tend to lose game one.
Yeah.
And I think maybe they're just a little jittery, and Sivir is one of those champs that can kind of cover for early mistakes, right? Like, let's say you screw up in the early game, Sivir can kind of, she's always got that wave clear to stall the game out and maybe get it back to a late game team fight where you've sort of found your stability in the series. As we have a Samira lock for Speedy Bandito.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's gas. That's definitely gas. As yeah, we are in round 2 of Picks Bands. Want to let the chat know if you would like to come and help us break this draft down and this series down in the break. Feel free to hop into low 1 and we'll pull you in. But yeah, we got, as we're in the second round of bands here, the Samira. What do you think about that answer? Samira Nautilus versus Sivir Leona. That seems like a hype bot lane, honestly.
I mean, I think it's explosive. Tailup's going to be trying to play safe with the Sivir, but, Samira says no to that. It's going to be really interesting to see what jungle intervention there is or if something spicy breaks out in the 2v2.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is creating a lot more volatility than we've seen in other TCL games. Is that Kassadin? That's Kassadin, right? That they just banned? That new Kassadin
Wow,
icon. That is something. You guys can't see it because of the overlay, but the Kassadin visual rework is funny looking. I'll just put it that way. That's interesting. Okay. As we have a Xerath ban on the other side, banning away, I think that's interesting because it takes a lot of the range out of the potential Pickles on Pizza comps. I think most of the champs that Wojtek has opted for are medium to lower range champs, and without the Xerath, it could leave them potentially stunted in that department. Still probably not worrying about it so much versus relatively low range on the side of Blood Monies as well.
Yeah. It looks like there is IRUP and one if we want to pull him in for the.
Yeah, we'll snag him after the pick ban finishes up. But yeah, we are looking through. There's the TF banned away from Blood. So 4 mid lane bans round 2 here. Both mid laners fell through, and honestly, kind of shows you just how different these champion pools are. The fact that each side's comfortable banning a mid laner out like that because it's just a ban against the other. Okay, so that's hype. I know you love this champion.
Yeah, that's my all-time favorite champ. Oh man, I'm gonna be super excited to see how Spurg plays this.
Yeah, definitely interesting there as we got a Varus hover, but yeah, I think Lilia opens up the door for maybe a Zed or something AD from Blood. Like the obvious answer now is Blood playing an AD champ. He doesn't have to. They have AD from Samira, but like, what kind of champ would you maybe look to see out of Blood in the mid lane now?
I'm gonna wait to see what Waj picks here because I think it could be a Pantheon, it could be a Zed, it could be all sorts of spicy things. Ezreal, okay, that's pretty safe.
That's Ezreal mid, by the way.
Yeah.
That's Ezreal mid. That's so interesting. Okay, so that's really interesting. We have an Ezreal in the mid lane. Gonna be a safe blind pick, obviously, but definitely been out of the meta for a bit. And Blood going Vlad, so that should be pretty hard to punish by Ezreal, but I don't know if it's necessarily gonna outperform it in the mid game. Oh no, it is
that
Zed
I was talking about.
All right, cool. So we got Blood Zed. This is anyone who knows Blood knows he plays Zed. This is one of the champs he's been working on since he transitioned into the mid lane, but hasn't had the opportunity to pull it out in TCL. He did come into the caster booth and mention that as a champ he hasn't played yet, but would like to play if the situation arrived. And here it is now. What do you think about it?
I think it's really interesting. Does Ezreal go Shattered Crown and hurt his damage just so he has some survivability against the Zed? Is it 80 AP Ezreal? Like, what are we going to look at? Is it Illudens? I think it's really going to be itemization here.
Yeah, we're definitely going to find out. But now, as we get through this pick ban, we can welcome in our first guest. I'm sorry, Spirit, but IREP was first. So I'm going to pull Mr. IREP into, if I can do it. It's not letting me pull him in because he's not in low 1. He's in customs lobby. Okay, if you want to join, you join low 1, not custom lobby. But that's okay. And yeah, it is interesting. We'll keep going with this while we wait for people to figure out where low 1 is. It is interesting, right? Because this Ezreal is definitely a new pick. We haven't seen Ezreal in the mid lane in quite a long time in the meta. It is going to add range to this comp, which I think is good. As yeah, now we do have Mr. Irep here to break down the draft. Irep, what do you think about these two comps as they match up against one another?
Yeah, I mean, I think they both look good on paper, but when it really comes down to, I think, the Ezreal in the mid lane, if he can't get a big enough like advantage in the early levels with his range and Zed hits 6, he's gonna have a lot of trouble, I would think. And bot lane, I mean, you got the Leona to stop the Samira, which is great, but I think in essence, Samira is going to overpower Sivir, and
Yeah,
with the Nautilus there as well. It's just kind of once you pop that spell shield, if he ults and Samira goes in, it's how do you beat that? I mean, you have to
definitely.
flash, right?
Yeah, definitely challenging for sure. These are obviously, keeping focus on that bot lane. Tailwhip you laned with last season, and Speedy's your friend. Guess and you've played against both of them during the season. How do you feel about these two bot lanes, just like as players? Set aside the picks, like the players themselves. How do you feel about them in terms of their skill and the way they play?
So that's an interesting question because Speedy and Tailwhip, their mechanics are very close, and I would give the edge to Speedy on most days. But there are days for sure where it's like Tailwhip is probably better. But I'd say consistency wise, at least during this season, Speedy's looked really good. But Tailwhip is probably a more consistent player
Hmm.
or like safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
server definitely allows him
And
to
then
be
the
safe.
support, like Rudy's looked great this season, and Swiss has like been pretty solid. And I've lost to him historically twice. So I don't know. I think if Rudy's on his game, then it should go to the BMS bot lane.
Okay.
cool. Okay, so you're favoring BMS in the bot lane. Let's pivot to the top lane, something we haven't talked about. I was kind of scratching my head when I saw the B1 Mord, and then equally confused seeing Ornn as the response. Do you have any take on that matchup?
Hmm.
Well, I did hear Bovey last night talking about how he had confidence into Music's Mord, so I think he was looking for this matchup, and I think Ornn is just nuts right now. Like you got the W for Mord E and his ult potentially, so you can't go wrong with the pick. And I mean, Mord is also one of those picks where it's like, you still can't go wrong. You take Zed out of the fight, you take Speedy out of the fight, and all of a sudden you could turn with the Sivir, especially, you could totally turn a fight. And it's that Sivir hack too. Can't sleep on that with that ult
No,
synergy.
definitely not. Yeah, really obvious synergy there. As we are about to be loading into game, Mr. Irep, I'm gonna get your prediction for the series based on draft, based on what you know. Who you calling in game one?
I got to give it to BMS here,
All
and
right.
it's going to be close though.
Yeah, definitely a spicy take for sure. Irep, thank you so much for coming in. Enjoy the
Hey,
rest
no
of the
problem.
stream, and we always appreciate your take on some of these wacky drafts. Awesome.
Mhm.
Thanks, Irep.
Word.
Thanks, buddy. So in this, I mean, I think it's going to be, can the Ornn weather the Mord split push? If so, he brings a lot of utility to the team in team fighting and those powerful Ornn items. And also in the jungle matchup, it's going to be horse versus horse. Like who is the superior horse player?
Yeah, I mean, both really speedy junglers for sure, and traditionally Heck's the counter pick, but as we kind of alluded to, Heck got nerfed pretty bad as I understand it, so it's going to be interesting to see how Espen pilots a champ. Matt, as we are loading into game one, who do you got in this first game?
Oh man, I want to give it to Pickles on Pizza, but I think it really comes down to how well of a substitute is this Ezreal for their traditional poke mid laner of Kaisa or Xerath? Like, does
Yeah.
it fill that role?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. A good point. We've not seen it, right? Like it's a pick we haven't seen in TCL. This is a new one. We haven't seen it really in any meta. Waj is going for the Airy, which suggests that he did this on Kaisa as well. He is playing all in for that poke, and yeah, Bloods Zed. That's so spicy because never seen it before in TCL. He's been spamming it for a while. How clean is it? And really, what I'm looking for is, can he get an early lead and then transition that into playing the team fights properly? Because I feel like it's so easy. We've all seen it in your solo queue games. The Zed gets fed, gets one or two kills in lane, and is still completely worthless in the team fights, right? Because they just try to attack it like a normal champ, and they get popped off the rip, or they can't get to the 80 carry because there's just too much peel, and that's the ball game. And you got to figure with communication, that's even more difficult.
Yeah. Looks like it's just pretty standard starts here. From the predictions, it looks like there's 5 people rooting for Pop and 4 people for BMS, but a little bit more money on Pop's side. So that's what the fan favorites are.
Yeah, forgot to mention that, but we did get some votes, so that's good. Prediction edging a little bit. What'd you say in the favor of Blood Minis
Pop.
or Pickles? In
Pop.
favor of Pop. So 5
Yes.
to 4 in favor of Pickles on Pizza. That's interesting. That is definitely interesting, especially given that they lost that first matchup between the two teams in the season. Maybe people just thinking, that's a fluke. We're not going to see the bot lane get bodied like that again. We're not going to see just... It looked out of character for them, especially after seeing their round 1 playoff match where they looked pretty darn solid.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this bot lane plays out tonight. Okay, a little bit of early trading in the top lane. Sauce hitting 2 first.
Yeah, always. We have a full fight in the bot lane. Ignite is down onto Speedy Bandito, trading back onto Swiss Army Cabinet. Aftershock procced on the Nautilus. Sivir doing a ton of damage in this situation. Speedy is probably 2 autos away from death, but gets away. Ultimately, Ignite committed out of the Pickles on Pizza bot lane. No sums burnt by Blood Monies, so failed all in there on the level 2 by Pickles on Pizza, but still getting a lot of pressure in this lane is going to feel good.
And there's a Spurg just running through mid lane, throwing his bowling ball on his way to Raptors.
Yeah, lane is in a really rough spot, actually, too, for Wojtek. It's kind of frozen in front of Blood's tower, which is going to mean that it's very difficult, especially as this early Ezreal, to step up and contest a level 3 Zed, right? Like, Zed's all-in potential at 3. Very, very large. And yeah, with the Lilia movement as well, it only reinforces that, but it is going to shove back into him as we have a relatively stable game state, and you gotta figure that probably favors Pickles on Pizza. I'd say their comp probably scales a little better. What do you think?
I mean, there's the Ornn on the other side, and Lilia does really well with items.
Hold that thought. It looks like we have an all-in from Bloodbath and Beyond in the mid lane as he's flashing with the Ignite, and that's a solo kill. First blood for the Blood Monies mid laner on the Zed, making the pick look fantastic so far. Wojtek maybe caught sleeping with both sums up.
I mean, I think that's exactly what you have to do if you're Blood. You got to get that early money on Zed. He's really strong, and then, once he has that money, it just becomes a dominant force that can just roam bot lane and, be game altering.
Yeah, and you got to figure this bot lane is going to have natural shove, but that becomes more susceptible if there can just be a Zed walking down on you, right? Like, if you do try to shove this lane out more like Tail Whip is done in this lane, although right now he is kind of letting it crash back into him, it is going to leave him vulnerable to Zed roam. So, Wojtek, maybe a bit of a blunder there, not flashing, not using the E in time. Blood just caught him too quick, and the reflexes weren't there. And yeah, first blood on the Zed is going to make every 80 carry cringe really hard because they know what's coming for him in the later game. We've all been there.
Looks like Spurg waiting for it.
As we have a fight in the mid lane. Oh, they are bullying Wojtek, and yeah, he is dead. Spurg with a fantastic swirl seed into the bop by the Lilia. Makes it 2 kills, and this Ezreal pick is being punished. That time, both sums critically blown by Wojtek, and he still goes down. So that's going to feel miserable if you're the Pickles on Pizza captain and mid laner.
Man, I'm really looking to see how this Hecarim performs, though, because I've heard it has a 45% win rate in solo queue after those nerfs. So I'm really curious if it will still be the good showing that we've seen from Espen on it, or if it will just falter a little bit this game.
Yeah, interestingly enough, he's gotten nothing done on the map so far, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, as hold that thought. Maybe he hears me. He is looking top, but is going to be warded out by Lost in the Sauce. No gank there. And he's just going back to clearing. He is staying even in farm, which I think is fine, but I think ultimately this Lilia will be a more potent late-game threat, barring some really, really good piloting by Espen. So it's going to be interesting to see how he looks on the champ. Yeah, like you were talking about, in the wake of the nerfs.
Yeah. Oh, man. Let's see. Looks like in a fight a little bit ago, Rudy blew flash in bottom lane that we caught. It was off screen.
Oh, true.
He's mid right now, maybe looking for something, but it looks like he's just getting some vision.
Yeah, so maybe some more early pressure coming out of this bot lane. It's funny, too, because we kind of highlighted the Blood Monies bot lane as the one that was going to maybe look to get more aggressive, but so far in this game, it's been the Pickles on Pizza bot lane, really pushing their edge here, fighting at level 2, abusing that strong Leona, level up and power spike. maybe trading with a little more aggression, and with the bigger wave crashing into them and already having a pretty sizable CS lead, this should be a decent sized advantage in the bot lane. At least it looks like round 1 so far going to Tail Whip and Swiss. As we see Fog toggle. Here is Espen trying to make that first gank happen. Flash stun onto Rudy, but the Q misses from the Sivir. They're engaging onto the Nautilus. Nautilus has no flash. He's going to go down to Espen. Espen falling critically low, falls to Speedy. Flash from Tail Whip, finishes off Speedy in the fight. And now it is a 2-on-1 beating on Spurg, but Swiss is getting really low, but he chains the Leona E into the kill onto Spurg. 3-for-1 trade, benefiting Pickles on Pizza. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Wojtek is being expletive on. Right? It is not a good lane for him. He is suffering right now into the Zed. A solo kill for a Bloodbath and Beyond, and yeah, so good things on the bot side, maybe not so good things on the mid side for Pickles on Pizza. And meanwhile, Blood is showing the freak up in the first playoff game for his team. Obviously had the bye going into this. He showed that, this is one thing I really want to talk about. Blood has adapted so darn well to the mid lane and to really crafting his own unique mid lane style. Who the heck else is going to pull out Zed in game 1 of playoffs, right? It's just Blood. He's been himself. Like, he knows exactly what his style is in the mid lane, and it's been awesome to see it work.
Yeah, he's 2 levels up on Waj. He got Deathmark first when Waj was still 5, and he made his level advantage work right there.
Yeah, absolutely. As we got Ghost from Espen, gonna try to get this gank down onto the Ornn. Ornn goes unstoppable a little bit too early and gets knocked back by the Hecarim. The ult out of maps, the stun from the Ornn as we have a Mordekaiser ult. Bovie is in the Death Realm, and Bovie is dead. Music X gets the kill on the Mordekaiser, making the pick work.
Yeah, we're looking to get some tower plates here. I wonder if we see a Herald play, maybe trade it for Dragon. That was really spicy. The Hecarim is still showing up work, even, after these nerfs. He is now showing up on it.
He's doing a great job abusing the speed of the pick, right? He's getting these, bursty ganks off, and he's being really definitive when he goes for them, knowing exactly who the target is, using his CDs incredibly efficiently. I mean, honestly, props to Espen making this pick work in spite of the changes, saying, you know what, nah, I'm comfortable on this Hecarim. I'm going to play it, especially into the Lilia. As, hold on, maybe it's a little quick. Music did not join Espen on this Herald, which means Blood and Spurg have time to collapse up. Deathmark goes down onto Espen. Smite secure goes to him on the Herald, but it looks like he may go down. Blood flashes out. Music X is falling really low, but does get the kill and the Triumph proc, and now Wojtek is here. Spurg running for his life on the Lilia pick is going to hit the Swirl Seed onto Wojtek, maybe looking to see if he can still fight this. 1-on-2 as we do have the Ornhorn coming down onto Wojtek. Wojtek is stunned and knocked up. He is falling really low. Can he finish the kill onto Spurg? Meanwhile, up top, Music X falling dangerously low, getting tag teamed by the Gromp and the Ornn. Wojtek does finish off the kill on Spurg, and Music escapes to his tower. Ultimately going to be a 1-for-2 trade, I think, that benefits Pickles on Pizza, plus the Rift Herald going over to Espen. Maybe a little over-aggressive, roaming up to contest that, and not just saying, we got Drake, you got Herald, that's a fair trade.
I mean, it was really spicy. It could have gone either way. One missed Ezreal Q changes that. I think the dive on Music got dissuaded by the Triumph proc at the last second. He got a bit of health back there. It really could have gone either way. That was an explosive fight.
Yeah. It was a pain in the butt to cast. I'm getting my, I'm getting my workout for the night. First time play-by-play. Let's do it. But yeah, definitely all over the place fight. And yeah, this is the matchup in the top lane. You kind of see it now. Mordekaiser with 2 kills, with the 1 assist, with the items coming through, is going to just be dominating this top lane. Can kind of pull the wave back into him if he's playing it right, and just hold it there. And if the Ornn ever steps up and doesn't get the W invul on the Mordekaiser Death Realm, he's just dead. I mean, he's so at risk to a prolonged trade, to a Death Realm, to an all-in from the Mordekaiser that it's so hard for him when the wave gets frozen.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this Rift Herald. Are they going to look top or bottom to drop it? Because, Music's already pretty damn ahead. And,
Oh, a little bit too quick out of the Ornn. Sorry to cut you off, but we have a gank in the top lane. Spurg is going to hit the Q, but with the missed knockup, Music can walk away, just Misexecution from Team Blood Money's top side.
Oh.
As we have an all-in on the bot side, Espen is going to trade back with a gank with the ult onto Rudy, is going to result in a kill. Immediately stunned out of the ult is Speedy, and that is 2 kills to Pickles on Pizza. Fantastic snowballing through the spot lane, and huge props to Espen again, making this darn Hecarim pick work.
Yep. Let's see if we get the Herald here. They have it.
Yeah,
I mean, that
probably
was a good fight.
just
Oh, yeah,
gonna.
there it is.
Yep, there's the Herald. Yeah, so just dropping it low enough to where the Herald will for sure kill it, and this will be first tower going over to Pickles on Pizza. Looks like solo first turret gold going over. Oh well, actually because it's the Herald, it'll be split. But yeah, going over to Tail with plus 610 gold there on that turret kill. That's a lot of gold.
Yeah,
So
looking to accelerate Tail Whip. And
yeah.
If you look at Tail Whip's build, he has the early ninja tabbies for the Zed and the Samira. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
efficient.
strong.
It's really efficient early tabas too, right? Because unless that Lilia is hitting you, and with Sivir, you got to think he's going to be able to kite back as we have an all-in here onto Wojtek. So I'll shut the hell up. With the double ignite drop, Wojtek is going to burn down. That's a kill from Blood. Good to see Rudy getting out of the lane. You know what? Just saying, we lost. Lane's over. I'm going to go get my fed Zed, even more fed, and bully the heck out of this Ezreal. Now 1-4 on that pick. Really sucks to see. But yeah, you got to figure, what I was saying was those tabas are going to be darn efficient, because if you can kite out the Lilia, there should really be no AP damage hitting you.
Yeah, it looks like the Eclipse just got bought by Blood, so he's now sitting on his Mythic. Gale Force from Tail Whip, so he's looking to maybe make some plays, dodge the Oranhorn with his Gale Force. Interesting bias.
Yeah, interesting that he trusts, he's not going for more the traditional, I believe.
Hands out. And,
I
just
hope
some
you can
pressure
hear
in the
me.
mid lane.
Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Little internet, maybe technical difficulties, but I'm back. And yeah, I definitely. That is very odd. I was lost just by production. But yeah, I'm here. So,
Drake setup.
as we got a Drake take from Blood Monies, this should just be the second Drake uncontested. Meanwhile, Tail Whip, Swiss, and Music are ganking Bovie under his tower. The Ornhorn comes down, but he's in the Death Realm. He can't hit it. And Music X is going to finish the kill. 3-0 for Music on the Mordekaiser. Turret plate falls down, but that should be the outer turret for them. Meanwhile,
traded for
Blood
mid.
Monies has picked up the Drake and is sieging down the mid turret. You got to figure Wojtek and Espen do not have the wave clear to stop all 4 of these guys from beating down their turret. So it is ultimately going to be a Drake and a kill for Pickles on Pizza. I'm sorry, a kill and a tower for Pickles on Pizza in exchange for their mid tower and the Drake. Probably a trade that you like if you're Blood Monies, honestly.
Let's see. So what do you think about the shield bow on the Samira? Because, I don't think there's actually that many threats other than, because the Ezreal is just going to be poking you down. It's not burst. It's like, the burst is just going to be the Hecarim and the Mordekaiser in the Death Realm. I think
Lifesteal is just so darn efficient on that champion. I think you pretty much have to go it. I don't know any situation where you can really go anything else, just because the sustain you get off the ult, especially as you get the Bloodthirster to come through. We'll see if he goes that build or maybe something different. Speedy is always a man for his own play style, but yeah, I think you kind of just have to go it. There's really not any other option for her. It's just so darn efficient the way her ult works with Lifesteal.
Well, that was nerfed today, so it's only 8% lifesteal on the shield bow now, and it gives you 70 extra health, 20 extra health per per legendary item you complete. So it lost some lifesteal today, and also there's no Ravenous Hunter. So there's just a lot of less healing in the game right now. I'm actually curious if anyone here took Treasure Hunter, the new
I heard
money.
I heard it's absolutely garbage. I haven't seen it. I haven't had a chance to play on the new patch, but I heard it is straight garbage. I was talking to Tail Whip about it, and he was telling me that he thinks it is the worst rune they've ever put in the game. He thinks it's completely gold inefficient. But, maybe just an exaggeration. Maybe he is missing something. I don't know. But it is interesting. Your point is very valid as we see some posturing here over the Herald. But ultimately looks like Blood Monies is just going to back up. Their Zed is bot lane. I'd be shocked if they actually look to fight this. But Pickles on Pizza saying, you know what, no, we don't have our Ezreal either.
Ooh, a steal
So-
away from Blood on this red buff.
Yeah,
That's,
meanwhile, I guess
extra money in
Blood-
your pocket.
Interesting. I would have liked to see them pull the trigger on a fight there, maybe with the
Uh-huh.
Sivril and the Hecarim ult.
I'd watch out for this
Um,
Ezreal. Blood's here. He has all. You know,
Yeah,
it's
ish.
either solo.
He should be safe with the flash exhaust and E, but I would have said that at level 3, and I would be wrong. I'd be
I
very
mean,
wrong.
Blood's
You know?
4-1, has his Eclipse, has his
Yeah,
ult,
true.
Ignite,
No.
he's a threat. I'd say either Tail Whip or Waj are, at risk anytime point in this game. Assuming, Swiss doesn't deal them.
Yeah, definitely interesting for sure. It is going to be interesting to see as well. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't just rip that Herald there. I agree with you, Blitz, in the chat. That was definitely a free Herald that they just opted not to take. Maybe didn't have vision on Blood. I'm really unsure, but yeah, they end up giving away their bot camps to the Zed in exchange for really nothing, and don't have their Sivir just vacuuming up farm the whole time like you'd probably like to see. And as a consequence of that, now you can see there was a pretty sizable farm lead for Tail Whip on the Sivir. That's gone. Levels are even. So looks like this early pop rotation of this bot lane, they played heavily for him. They moved him around, moved him top to knock the top outer down as well. It's kind of stalling out. They maybe don't know what to do next. They just kind of have the Sivir sitting in standby mode, and now it's going to be a Herald take over to Blood Monies. Well, actually, hold your thoughts there, because they definitely see it, but it looks like they just don't think there's anything they can do about it. A lot of poke onto Rudy, especially coming from a 1-4 Ezreal. That was some damage, but no kill, and Rift Herald goes over to Blood, interestingly enough. I love that decision because it means he can now move into the side lane. As we see Port to match Music, who was splitting the entire time in the side lane. Tail Whip is going to be hitting on this mid tower with his Captain Wojtek on the Ezreal. Ultimately, should just mean some chip damage. I can't imagine they get it here.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very close on the Swirl Seed.
So something to note is the Swerk shoes on Waj. So he's going definitely for that poke build.
Yeah.
I'm really curious what the sheen goes into. If that's going to be an AP sheen or it's going to be,
Yeah, is it a Lich
A
Bane, or is
Sunderer?
it like a Sunderer, a Triforce? What is it, an Essence Reaver? Who knows, right? Like, it is going to be interesting to see what
Ooh,
he's going for.
sleep.
As hold on, we have the sleep going down onto Wojtek. Music X caught up in the middle and can't get the Ornn ult off. He does ultimately get it off onto Bloodbath and Beyond. Is ticking with the death mark, but ultimately survives. Blood flashes onto him, commits, and does get the shutdown, but dies for it. And instead, the Nautilus ult goes down onto Tail Whip on the Sivir, chained back by the Leon ult from Swiss Army Captain, and Tail Whip is on a killing spree. Speedy popping off with the ult, but the exhaust comes down. That's a double kill for Tail Whip. Spurg forced to flash out. Tail Whip is free hitting. That's a triple kill for Tail Whip on the Sivir, absolutely dominating the fight in the choke point on his trademark 80 carry. Should mean a very easy Drake contest as Tail Whip flashes the wall. That's a quadra kill for Tail Whip on the Sivir. He is very much online, here to play in game 1 of the semi-finals. Cloud Drake does go over to Pickles on Pizza along with a dominant fight. What the heck do you got to say about that one, Matt?
That was a crazy pop-off. I was actually kind of concerned about the Drake state, 2-0, and they just brought it back with that decisive fight. Caleb got the free hit that entire time, just was putting out loads of damage in that fight. The Samira ult didn't actually do all that much in comparison. It was a really good spell shield
down,
on the Nautilus ult, so, he was completely safe during all of that, and the sleep just wasn't on the correct key targets. Also, the Mordekaiser lived a really long time against the Zed. He was there. It's those ninja tabbies, they're just putting in work. Almost everyone on the team has them.
Yeah, they're buying the tab eyes. They're saying, you know what, you guys, if you don't hit me, Lilia, you have no AP damage. And they're right? Like, this Zed does buy the team into maybe a more AD angle. Needed to see Spurg himself become more of a threat. It kind of just was Blood that popped off a little bit more in the early game. And yeah, you're right, the Mordekaiser living was so darn clutch there. He lived for so long, forced Blood to commit his flash and ult onto him. And yeah, Blood picked up the kill and the shutdown onto Music, but it just traded his life back immediately. And then, yeah, at that point, there is no threat on a Sivir, especially in a choke point like that. Tail Whip just did about 1 billion damage in that choke point. Absolutely went nuts and tore Blood Monies to shreds, getting that crucial third Drake, getting one on the board for Pickles on Pizza, as now they look completely in control of this game. Nearly a 4K gold lead for them.
Yeah, I'd say Baron is the next thing on the table. I want to see how they start playing around this.
Oh, as Espen is ghosting at Spurg, and he is going to commit the ult from the Hecarim. Swiss gets the kill. Really love this definitive Espen we're seeing tonight. This is Espen playing as aggressive as he always does with his team around him, though. And I got to say, he is using his cooldowns intentionally and with really awesome efficiency. Like, he is going in and using all his abilities on precisely the right target. He knows exactly what he's doing with them. He knows exactly how they should be used. You can see the comfort on the Hecarim pick. It's really awesome to see as we see a stun and a chain ult going down on a Bloodbath and Beyond. He is caught. He is dead. And that should probably mean Baron here for Pickles on Pizza. Huge mistake by Blood walking up by himself. Didn't see the Pickles on Pizza members sitting in that brush. Awesome brush bait, tails all this time, and with no jungle here, you gotta figure this is not a 50-50. This should be a pretty easy secure for Pickles on Pizza. As soon as I say it, it drops to 300 health, but is gonna be smited by Espen. Looks like both teams will just disengage. Amazing stuff from Pickles on Pizza.
Yeah, and now they're in a definitive position to close out this game. Let's see what they do with this Baron. I mean, I think it was a really good bush bait. They cleared the vision on Baron, left it alone. You know, got out so they could have been on it. So Blood was forced to walk in alone. And, you know, that's just a rough time. That's a rough time being in there. They secured the pick on the Lilia, which is why I imagine they went so hard, is so they could, you know, be set up for Baron with no congestion.
Definitely. Yeah, and
Clean execution.
I agree. As we've seen this game transition out of laning phase, you know, maybe Blood got a couple kills in lane and some things were looking kind of good for Blood Monies. Clearly, at least in game one, the more coordinated team has been Pickles on Pizza. I mean, they are just moving as a unit with very obvious intention behind every movement, right? Like, we're going to rotate bot, you know, we're going to gank bot lane a lot to unlock Tail Whip on the Sivir. We're then going to move him top to break down these towers. I mean, it's kind of macro one-on-one, but they're doing it really well, right? Like, they're obviously all on the same page. You can tell they put in the practice. You can tell they came to play in the semifinals.
Yeah, I actually don't know how Blood Monies gets back into this, because between the beefy front line between the Leona, Hecarim, and Mordekaiser, it's really hard to get on him. He has the spell shield to cover himself. Like, Lilia has a hard time just getting through that without dying to get on him. Zed, you know, he can, but it's really hard to get on Tailwhip.
Yeah, absolutely. Very tough to get on Tail Whip, as well as, we didn't really hit on this yet, but 2 exhausts plus a Mordekaiser ult plus a Leona to peel is going to make it darn difficult to kill any of these AD carries, especially a Gale Force Sivir with presumably flash up. Yeah, and he is a giant too. Can't look past that. Also has stopwatch to protect himself, so it is going to be, you know, Blood has his work cut out for him trying to assassinate that Fed carry. But you got to figure if Tail Whip messes up, as hold up that thought, we have a chem tank from Espen is just going to back off. And yeah, you got to figure, man, if Tail Whip messes up though, Blood can have that opportunity. You know, everything is in his hands right now. He does have to play really well to win this game, but I know Blood as a person and as a player wants it just like that, right? Like, he is a carry player. He is very happy, almost in an unselfish way, to be the focus of the team, right? Like, usually when you talk about someone willing to take the resources, it's in a more selfish way, but with Blood, it's like, no, let me lift all of you guys up. Like, let me help you out and play with you, but be the main damage source, right? Like, I think Blood is almost unique in the way he plays around his team as the focal carry, right? I think it's a cool look.
It looks like Ornn is 13, so in one level we'll be seeing his Ornn items on himself. Is it 13 for himself or 14 for himself?
Hold that thought. We have a ult onto Bloodbath and Beyond. Uses the Death Mark to get away, but is going to be dragged back in by the Mordekaiser. Great stopwatch from Tailwhip means he survives, at least for now. Music Hex has a double kill and drops the Death Realm onto the Ornn. Stopwatch comes out from him. I'm sorry, Full Zonius comes out from him. He still has a stopwatch, which he's going to use to stay alive a little longer, but does go down after burning the flash to Speedy. So a trade kill back onto the Mordekaiser means a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Pickles on Pizza. Maybe just a little too far ahead.
I mean, Tailwhip almost got cut out there. If he didn't have that stopwatch, you know, that's a lot of money going back over there. Like we said, it's on Tailwhip to make a mistake. He is the front line to keep him safe, but, you know, positioning it's risky.
Yeah, and I would argue he got a little too close there. I don't know if he Gale Force forward. I didn't actually watch exactly what he did, but he blew both sums and the stopwatch there, which, you know, and still damn near went down. So I would argue that probably means he got a little too close. But ultimately, Music X with an absolute pop-off there on the Mordekaiser, getting 2 kills for himself. Darn near got a third onto the Ornn. Orn items are finally coming online here. We see the first one going down onto Speedy Bandito, and interestingly enough, the Orn has bought a Quicksilver Sash.
Yeah, I wanted
in
to bring
case
that up.
He gets the ultimate dropped on him. I think he is too far behind to buy that personally.
And it's at the point where you're gonna want to be team fighting Zoran. Like, sure, you have to match the split push, but that's a rough fight. We also see a Serpent's Fang out of blood. I guess he's worried about the Mordekaiser shield after that one time he couldn't kill him.
Yeah, I mean, it is an effective item versus Mord, but yeah, I think that's maybe not the best. I think you should probably be playing to kill the Sivir instead of... Oh, there is a Locket Shield too, actually. Good point, production. So that will help him with some of that, but not sure if that's an efficient buy or not. Honestly, I'm not sure. Interesting decision, though, Bad Blood.
Yeah, man, this has been a standout performance from Tail Whip and Espen and Music. They've all looked amazing this game. I mean,
Yeah.
Blood's trying his best for his team. He's showing up too, but it's a hard game.
As hold on, we have a Hecarim ult going down onto Rudy and Lost in the Sauce. Lost in the Sauce Rudy immediately mowed down, and Espen has no off button. Maybe a little too far. As
This is the sleep.
We have a 4-man sleep, and Mordekaiser critically is not here. Tailwhip trying his hardest to trade damage back. Does get a kill onto Bloodbath and Beyond with the Boomerang, but Spur gets the kill in return, and Speedy finishes off Wojtek. A huge blunder by Pickles on
Just
Pizza,
a lead.
and fantastic. I don't know if that was a swirl seed or what it was by Spurg. And yeah, Aspen, we've complimented him a lot this game.
There is
Just
the
a
issue of Music not being
too
there.
far.
He's split pushing.
Yeah,
so
Music-
he's gonna get a tower on the side for that.
Yeah, that's something back, but just maybe without your top laner, without him willing to port in, I guess, maybe just a little too far from Pickles on Pizza there.
Yeah. But we can see that, Pickles on Pizza can bleed. They can lose team fights like that.
It's definitely
They
possible.
are not in the commanding lead that they, think that they are. Speedy did so much damage there, executing with his ultimate. It was really good for show. It looks like there's going to be a little bit of setup for Baron now.
And I was just going to ask for it. Thank you, production. Gold check. You can see Speedy is down a sizable amount of gold on Tailwhip, but I'm not sure. Tailwhip may actually just be full build. And you can also see, by the way, as we look at this, how much of their gold is on Tailwhip right now.
Yeah, it was
Right,
crucial
so-
that he didn't hand over that shutdown in that last fight. He got
definitely.
low, but
Definitely, but look at where the gold is dispersed, right? Like, it's actually not that commanding broadly of a gold lead, right? Like,
yeah, Blood's
Wojtek
up
is
2K.
down. Yeah, Wojtek's down a ton of gold in the mid lane. And support's obviously tilting a little bit in favor of the winning support so far, but every other lane is within 1,000 gold or so, right? Like, the bulk of this massive gold lead is Tailwhip, right? Like, the vast majority of this gold is Tailwhip, and Blood is darn strong himself. So, with the upgraded Eclipse as well, is going to have a lot of stats, and as more of these Ornn items come through, maybe they do have to be kind of careful, right? Like, maybe Pickles on Pizza can definitely start to get outscaled and lose the fight. So they got to keep their foot on the driver's seat. No more blunders like that, because all of a sudden you start handing over some of those shutdowns. You're right. If Tailwhip goes down and gives that to a key member of Blood Monies, it could be bad. As hold that
there's a engage.
we have a Ghost out of Espen, does get the death mark down onto him, trades back with the Hecarim ult, maybe going a little bit too far though, as the kill goes down onto Rudy in exchange for Espen. Speedy is in front of everyone doing massive damage with the Samir ult. Tailwhip meanwhile is tanking the Ornn, looks like he will go down to the Ornn, and Spurg is going to drop to Music X on the backline. Wojtek is going to get killed, actually, by the Ornn, and Music himself is going to have to trade with the top laners. It's top lane combat, and Music X wins it. Oh my goodness,
That
my
was a
throat's
bloody
coming out.
fight. Yeah, 4 to 5. Almost everyone went down. It was close. Could have really gone either way. I don't know if I really like the engage of Pickles on Pizza, because their win con is Tailwhip, and when they blow their ults like that, there isn't really any appeal for him. As we can see, he got mowed down by the Ornn.
Well, I think critically, too, they fought into a choke point walking into Blood Monies, and you can see how much that evens out the game for Speedy. Speedy was able to dash into the middle of everyone with that Samira passive stacked and deal absurd damage to everyone. I mean, he put everyone probably on 1/3 HP that he hit. He was hitting at least 3 people on the backside of that. Did a lot of damage in that fight. And yeah, Tailwhip went down, so the shutdown did go over. Critically, just to the Ornn, which is gonna, it's gonna make him tougher to kill, but it is just Ornn. right? So probably not ideal, probably not where you would want it. And now for making that play, he has a bounty. Fortunately though, for Blood Monies, they get another shot because Tailwhip is so darn fed on this Sivir at 10, 1, and 11 that he has a 450 gold bounty. So he's got. They get another shot. So let's see how it works. But you know, your point is these fights are contestable, right? It is not over at all.
Watch.
Hook onto Wojtek is getting caught. Nautilus ult goes down onto him. He trades back with the Ezra ult. Spurg jumping in. Espen has already gone down, and same for Wojtek. Music X on the other side of the fight is fighting too. Gets the kill onto Spurg, and Tailwhip is being engaged on by the Zed. No one is here to peel him though, and he is going to go down. Meanwhile, Swiss is going to go down himself, and Music lost on the backside. A huge 4-for-1 team fight. The game is turning for Blood Monies.
Right in front of the Baron. That is not where you want to throw a fight. Yeah, I mean, there's triple Cloud Drake on Pickles on Pizza, but that didn't really give them any combat stats for that fight right there.
Yeah, Cloud Drake's not going to help you win, especially when you're fighting Split versus a Zed. He loves that.
Yeah.
And Wojtek just, again, I mean, he's really having one of his worst games. This is a real off game from him. He's just looked uncomfortable on the Ezreal. I don't know how much they practiced it. I've watched a couple of their practices, and I didn't see it ever. But he is, I mean, honestly, yeah, he's on what should be a pretty safe pick. He has looked pretty caught out a lot of the time. Want to see him, the captain of his team here, clean it up a little bit. But yeah, huge play from Rudy there. Rudy just going for the hook there. I love it, right? I love the aggression, and I love the decision making. You're right, they're turning right back into this game.
Yeah. If we look there, it's 6 towers to 2, but the gold lead is near even. We're going to see how much Blood Monies can pick up here and maybe even take the gold lead for themselves.
Absolutely. They've just caught right back up into the game. What was a probably 6k gold lead, I think, if I remember correct, is now 1,000 gold and a Baron for Blood Monies. And yeah, you're right. Soul point coming up here for Pickles on Pizza, but it is the Cloud Soul, right? That feels awful. That's not combat stats. Yeah, it's Hecarim with Cloud Soul, which is awesome. And it's Sivir with Cloud Soul, which is also awesome, right? Like, not saying they don't use it darn well. Mordekaiser also supremely undervalued with that soul. It makes him so obnoxious in the Death Realm. But, yeah, I mean, Pickles on Pizza maybe getting outskilled in the team fights. Who knows? Maybe just not coordinated. We talked about them as maybe the more coordinated team through the mid game. In the late game, though, it has been the Blood Monies that have looked way more on point, on the same page, using their comp well.
Yep, they're picking up some towers here. It looks like Tailwhip did not enjoy getting assassinated by Zed there. He picked up some armor after that fight.
Yeah, definitely not. Also, just trying to spell shoot these. You know, Spurg has been quietly very good on this Lilia pick in the team fights.
He's had some amazing sleeps. 4-man sleeps, 3-man sleeps. Just the sleep on Aspen at the dragon fight, just for, you know, a key pick. Oh man, it's been impressive.
Wojtek got hit there and lost half his health. So lots of freaking damage goes down onto him. Espen may be looking to engage here, but with his team chunked out like that, he can't do it. Tailwhip spell shields a Swirl Seed.
I mean, yeah, if you get hit by Swirl Speed, the sleep's there, and assuming you don't get peeled for it, it's over.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. It is interesting, right? Because on paper, you would look at this team comp from Pickles on Pizza and think it's the better one in these team fights. But you're right. If those Swirl Seeds connect, yeah, if the Swirl Seed connects, if Speedy gets a pop-off ult, if Blood assassinates Tailwhip,
they have a lot of burst.
It falls apart real quick, right? Like, so there's obvious angles that maybe aren't you know, so you wouldn't think of them at first, but they're very effective at just blowing up that dream fight for Pickles on Pizza.
Also to note, the Ornn has been picking up a lot of sideline EXP. He is 18. Everyone on his team has the upgrades.
Yeah, definitely a good point there. That is 1,000 gold or so worth of stats on each Ornn item. So
yeah, that gold lead is bigger than you think it is.
Gold lead is a lot bigger, and you're right. The gold lead has swung back about 1,000 gold or so to the Blood Monies as they get their third Drake of the game as well.
It's soul point for both.
Soul point for both teams. What was a dominant Pickles on Pizza mid game has turned into a nightmare as Blood Monies has caught back up and given us a game as we progress into the later stages here.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how late we go. Are we going to see the Elder win con? Are we going to have to go through 2 more Drakes? have it be another 15-minute game? This is going to be a long one. Or is it just going to be one more team fight that just gives us the end?
I think a lot of the times with these, especially in the TCL, like the first game is never going to be the cleanest, and I think this is an example. Like both teams have made some obvious mistakes in rotation.
They've traded it back.
Yeah, traded back and forth here. So I think especially with the Sivir pick, Pickles on Pizza at least was prepared for this, right? Like they were like, all right, maybe we screw up here and there. We got Sivir wave clear, right? I talked with Tailwhip specifically about this. He said, I think Sivir's a good pick for us, especially early, because we like to mess around a little bit too much early. We like to have a little bit too much fun as we have an engage on the top side. Oh, just blood swiping Espen's blue. That feels awful.
Yeah, Sivir is at full build. They're not going to be getting any stronger on Tailwhip. Whereas everyone on Blood Monies looks like they still have, room for growth in their items. Blood almost finished out his build, but Tailwhip is capped.
Yeah, and look at how many items are left for Pickles on Pizza, right? So the gold looks even, but how much of that is just sitting in Tailwhip's inventory, right? Like, there's still two, right now actually not that much, but there's still 2 item slots for Wojtek to go. I believe
Tailwhip has to be clearing these waves.
2 for Aspen as well, and 1 for Music. And yeah, you're right, it does have to be Tailwhip wave clearing. That gold is useless. It's just buying him more elixirs, maybe transitioning 1 or 2 items, like if his GA goes down, he sells it or something, but not really going to do a whole lot there. And yeah, you're right. This gold lead, I think, should balloon before it collects. The real gold lead, right? Like, maybe the number stays the same, but a lot of that gold is going to funnel into Tailwhip just by the nature of the way the comp has to play. Which means the real gold lead that can, the gold that can still be bought is probably going to be a wider number before it gets closer.
Oh, Blood looking for a flank, but spot out on the ward.
As Rudy, however, stepping a little bit too far, is going to have to flash, but he is going to be pursued by Swiss Army Cabinet. The fight is stretching a little long, though, and Pickles on Pizza maybe learned their lesson. The Sivir ult goes down, and they back off. Ultimately, Flash traded for the Sivir ult, the Ezreal ult, and the Leona ult. Probably not the worst for... hold that thought. Sleep goes down onto 2. A fantastic swirl seed, it looks like, hit. And this could be a nightmare fight for Pickles on Pizza. Espen is low. Mordekaiser, Music X is low, and Blood is assassinating Wojtek on the backside. Tailwhip, meanwhile, nowhere to be found. Bloodbath and Beyond gets the kill onto Wojtek, and it is a clean 4-0 for Blood Monies. They've completely turned this game on its head. This is a massive throw. Yeah, this is a massive throw for Pickles on Pizza
Beautiful
in
hooks
game
for
1.
Rudy.
Yeah,
And
Rudy's popping off.
Amazing sleep from Spur.
Yeah, I don't know how he got the Lilia passive on them there. I assume he hit knee. But that was absurd to see. Like, that was really, really good. Yeah, they're going to try to end the game here. It is Sivir for him. He Gale Forces back. Got to figure this is a champ that can do it if there is any, but 5v1 isn't a fair fight. The Nexus goes down, and in a stunning turn of events, Blood Monies
takes it.
up 1-0 in this series. What a hype game 1.
Yeah, that was a crazy matchup. Man, it looks like Pickles on Pizza just didn't know how to end or how to, use their lead, and they just handed it back over the course of the game, over the last 10 minutes. 10, 15 minutes. It just, they just slowly started doling it back.
Yeah, hard agree with you there. They definitely looked a little discombobulated in the late game. They got some really awesome mid-game rotations, got a pretty sizable gold lead off of it, as well as picking some good fights for their comp. But ultimately, just not enough. We are going to have stats up for you here just a sec, as the client is darn buggy, and yeah, that feels awful. Look at that damage number.
From
out of
the Sivir, from
not
the
able to do
Lilia?
it. The Lilia on the flip side having a monster game. Like we said, maybe Spurg a little quiet at first, but he played that darn Lilia so well, and you hate to see it. That's bounty gaming right there. That's what happens when you make a mistake, right? You make a mistake, you throw that Baron away, and the game's just, it's even again. It's maybe even losing again because your mental is so darn shot after throwing like that. Speaking of mental, it's going to be interesting to see how they rebound for a game 2. But with that in mind, we are going to kick it to a break here. And we got one heck of a series for you here. We'll come back in just a second for game 2. Go take a break. We'll see you in just real soon.
I did want to acknowledge that Orin, though. There was some amazing ults in corridors, just, knocking up the entire team. And I think that partially swung the game. They were amazing.
Definitely. Absolutely. So let's kick it to a break here, and we will come right back for game 2. All right, everybody, welcome back to the semifinal, round 2, Pickles on Pizza versus Team Blood Monies. In an amazing comeback effort, the Blood Monies took game 1 after what looked like a dominant and coordinated early and mid game from Pickles on Pizza. It's been fantastic to watch. We've had some spicy picks, some looking great like the Zed, some looking less than great like the Ezreal, but it's all fun as heck to watch. As we get into the draft, I'm Bully. This is Matt. Matt, what do you think about these games?
Well, I think it's a red side pick from Pickles on Pizza, so it looks like red side is actually going to be the desirable pick for the series.
Yeah.
Also of note, no, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it definitely interesting. I agree with you. Red side got some maybe players that they want to give counterpick to, right? Seems like the mid lane matchup is going to be very much determining a lot of how these games go. You saw the value of the Zed into Ezreal counterpick there, as that definitely put a lot of work in for sure. But
Same band's coming out.
yes, same bands immediately out. The Thresh from Blood Monies, the Urgot from Pickles on Pizza. Probably never seeing those in any games.
Yeah. Oh man, who do you give MVP to from that last game? Is it Spurg? Is it Lost in the Sauce? Is it Blood? All of them looked amazing. I mean, Speedy had some good team fights, but I want to say it's one of those three.
I think it's Spurg. I think it's
It's
Spurg.
Spurg.
Spurg was a monster in some of those later team fights. Blood kept the team alive though, and like
But-
his contribution should not be lost. But I think it was Spurg for sure. I think Spurg absolutely bodied those late game team fights. Kai'Sa, was that the same last game? I think
Yeah,
it
there was a Kaisai ban last game.
I thought it was rotation 2 though. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
no, it was rotation. It was rotation 1. They just swapped the Trundle
Was it?
and the Kaisai ban.
Oh,
It's still the same.
okay. Cool. So same
J4
bands
ban still the same.
from both teams is a Mordekaiser ban. Okay, so that's a pivot. Something fell through here. Mordekaiser ban coming out of Pickles on Pizza. Interesting. Maybe saying, we like the first pick it, and maybe it kind of explains the first pick. They're afraid that Lost in the Sauce could take it himself.
One sec, I got to deal with my cat.
All good, all good. We got some cat ganking the stream here. Meanwhile, the Rakan picked up from Blood Monies. That's actually interesting. The ban that fell through was the Xayah, so showing that there is the Lovers bot lane on the table. Interesting to see if Tail Whip will take it back and play that poke role, or if they're going to give over the Lovers bot lane. Meanwhile, we've got the Jace pick. Oh, no, not the Jace pick, just a Music X hover. And yeah, the Xayah taken for Tail Whip. I know he loves this champ, as that is an adorable cat. That shouldn't be lost. Sometimes life happens, and cats happen. That cat is darn cute, though. And yeah, the Lovers are divorced here in this game, too. Going to be facing off in the bot lane. Interesting to see what the pairing will be. It is going to be the Leona again for Swiss.
Yep.
What do you think about this so far, Matt?
I mean, I think it's really spicy. They kind of forced the Xayah first pick by picking the Rakan. They say, hey, I don't want you to have this. But at the same time, I think both teams can play Xayah Rakan. So they kind of forced it on each other. And as blue side, Blood Money's got first pick on which one of the two they wanted.
Yeah, definitely. I think both sides of this, though, should be pretty effective. The Rakan, though, traditionally struggles pretty hard into the Leona as, okay, we have a Zeri pickup here for Speedy Bandito. The champ's been nerfed quite a few times, still universally prioritized in pro play as being pretty darn OP. Interested to see how this bot lane goes. I got to imagine it's going to be a little weaker in the early game, but if it doesn't get punished, darn can it snowball. It can get out of control real quick.
Oh, man. What do you think about the Mordekaiser ban from Pickles on Pizza? They, that's their own pick. They looked really good on it. And this time,
Okay, Kassadin from
Blind.
Blood. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, that is shocking. A blind Kassadin with the Zeri. This comp has 0 range. I absolutely hate it. And now, maybe a bet. Okay, that's a Renekton pick.
mid.
Okay, that's Renekton mid for sure. That is Wojtek's go-to melee v melee AD champion. If he's playing a melee v melee matchup and he wants an AD champ, he plays Renekton into it. I gotta figure that's his. We have seen Music play it in previous TCL seasons, but fairly confident that that's going to Wojtek. And it is probably a pretty dominant matchup, I'd have to imagine, into the Kassadin. I can't really see Kassadin having any fun there.
Poppy ban.
Interesting Poppy ban. And yeah, real quick though, one thing I want to announce, if you guys want to join us for game 2, hop into LOL 1. And LOL 1, actually LOL 1 this time though, guys. And we will happily pull you in for some analysis.
Gnosis band. I'm really curious what music's going to play here because there's a distinctive lack of magic damage on Pickles on Pizza's team.
Yeah, with
What's
no.
going to be an AP jungler? Is it going to be an AP top laner? Like they're
Oh.
going to need some force, and I'm really curious what type of pick they're going to bring out for this.
That's a really good point. And actually, though, I'm wondering if that couldn't play against Blood. Well, so the Kassadin does have that anti-magic damage passive, but there's also a tank build, I believe, that goes around that's pretty darn potent and builds Frozen Heart. And I have to imagine if Blood opts for that, which he won't because he's Blood, but if he does, that would be pretty darn oppressive here. And yeah, you're right. We haven't really seen any AP picks out of music other than the Mordekaiser, and I don't think we've seen anything of that nature out of Espen. So other than I guess a Mumu. So interested to see what he'll go for here. Is going to be just a hover on the Ivern and the Varus. This is Tail Whip, so that's what he loves to do.
Yeah,
Oh, Yumi
really
for
curious
you.
what we're going to see out of Espen because the Hecarim is banned. He looked really good on that last game. So the Amumu's up, but I don't think that provides
No
enough magic
way.
damage.
No
I think they're
way.
really in a pinch.
No way do we see Jace here. Malphite picked up blind for music. I wonder if this could be an AP Malphite for music. That will be interesting to see. Also, production making a good note. We've seen Diana out of Espen maybe once or twice here. It is a pick he likes to play. Maybe not the one he's obviously known for, but definitely a strong pick in and of itself. Speedy, gonna hover around. Let's see what Bovie is gonna play here into this Malphite.
Set.
It is gonna be set. Okay, so this is a brutal. This seems maybe not the worst until you realize just how oppressive Set is into melees. I mean, Set just absolutely abuses Malphite in this lane. It feels bad for a while. Like, it feels pretty miserable being that Malphite. I have to imagine music is just going to play to survive in this top lane. It's going to be bad. Opportunity here for Lost in the Sauce to really make his mark in the top lane for sure. As we have the Zac locked in for Spurg. Really low range comp.
Let's see if this is the Diana. But if it's Diana, both teams are going to be really low range. Like Zeri's a little bit less than Xayah, but Xayah does not have Sivir's wave clear. Like this is going to be.
Well, so I think that favors the Xayah though. I think the Xayah is going to function really effectively into this comp. And if this is a Mumu, okay, I like a Mumu here. Yeah, I like a Mumu here though because a Mumu has pretty easy access to all like the range of these champions is so darn low out of blood monies that Amumu is really there's obvious ways for Amumu to get just like a massive ult off. Same for the Malphite as well, and Renekton should have some insane value. You guys are gonna make me do it. You guys deserve this because you did not hop into LoL 1, so our guest is going to be none other than the commissioner himself, Mr.
What's up,
Abarn.
Abarn?
How you doing?
How are we doing?
I think we're doing pretty darn well. Crazy game 1, interesting draft here game 2. What do you got to say for us here?
Well, I'm sitting here in my home. Mr. Sauce, Mr. Bovie himself, is in my office at my computer playing this series.
Okay.
I promise I'm not helping. Now we're totally locked out from each other, so I'm just out here watching. I will say that I'm a little more happy of the direction from BMS. I think that they deserved to lose that last game. I really didn't like the Zed pick.
Yeah,
The problem that it had, and I think Rudy and Sauce just played an incredible freaking game. Rudy with a couple picks that I think were sort of game defining, and then Sauce can't be discounted because that fight at Dragon. Yeah, that crazy fight at Dragon where he basically picked up all of those kills in the back and then like that 4-man ult at the end.
Yeah, just mauled the backline.
Equalized the.
Yeah, well here's my thought, right? Like this is absolutely at this point Waj's game to win. He's got the Renekton. He has the counter pick that he likes playing. He plays that into a lot of stuff. I think that I cannot say a single positive thing around the reason the Kassadin was picked. I get the Blood plays it well. I get it's one of his champions. There's plenty of things he could have done that would have made more sense. So I think this is Waj's game to win or lose. He does have to show up well on the Renekton. They don't have any like traditional ranged magic damage. You obviously see a Mumu in Malphite. Who knows if that's enough? I'm going to say that if Pop is coming back feeling good and kind of ready to play, they're going to win this one. In my personal opinion, I think the draft works out a lot better if BMS is just kind of feeling themselves more and Blood is able to kind of do Blood things. I think he has a chance, but I favor Pop on this one.
I think
Cool.
Sauce has a moment to pop off on the set. Like he has the adventurous matchup into music here on the Malphite. Like, can he beat the Rock and get a big enough lead for his team?
Well, I think he the thing Bovey does well is and we talk about the dad buff all the time. The joke is true though, because what he does is he doesn't get too bothered around needing to win lane or needing to show off that he's a great player. He ultimately just kind of makes good decisions. And so I think what he's going to do is he's going to go and make sure that he doesn't get ganked over and over. He will take a lead if he can. And ultimately, I like the set more than the Ornn, because if he's playing with this kind of composure and he's kind of there for his team, I think that him being there, actually doing a lot of damage in these fights and diving in and really being a problem more than an Ornn is just capable of is going to be really important for the team.
For sure. And I guess you highlighted the mid laners a little bit. I want to get quickly your take on both of these players just as players, their play styles themselves. You laned against both of them during the season. Real quick, how do you feel about them both as they stack up in this league?
You know, both of their many would say that a lot of what they've shown, especially with their teams are really good, and they're definitely some of the top, 2, 3, whatever mid laners in the league. What I will say is Waj is not an aggressive laner. One thing, if you watch a lot of his film and you go back, you actually watch those games, he picks up all of his kills by like roams in a river and fighting the jungler, and it's like literally almost every one of his first kills is like on the jungler. It's almost never on the mid laner. So he doesn't show the aggression. I think Blood, as one of the only mid laners who actually plays really aggressively in lane, because that's his style, really does well into Watch, because he is probably better than anyone else at being able to punish some of that stuff. So I think both of them have really, really big benefits of and that's why they're both such core parts of their teams, and they both fit in well. Which one's better? I don't know. I think that both are a style. If Waj can go and find the roams before Blood can pop off, then Waj wins. If Blood continues to donkey on to Waj as he did last game, then, well, we saw what happened.
Yeah. Well, all right, Abarn. Thank you for your intake, but this is an awesome opportunity where I get to kick the commissioner. So see ya. All right, he's out of here. We got game 2 here between Pickles on Pizza and Blood Monies. It's going to be an insanely hype game 2. I love these drafts. We got the input. Dang, this is awesome.
Yep, it's going to be a standard 5-point. If you look, there is armor start on Blood. He's a little bit worried about the matchup from the looks of it. Let's see. Everything else looks pretty normal. I really think it's Blood Money. They play really aggressive, and you have to play into their style and just not let them chaos the game.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree. Blood Money's going into this, right? Like, they were the team that kind of takes this game in all kinds of different directions. Really crazy, right? And you knew from Pickles on Pizza, with a much more orthodox style, are they going to be able to keep calm within the storm, or are they just going to fall into the madness? Interesting to see. Game 1, I would say they looked calm for a bit, and then they fell into the madness. So going to be interesting to see if they can rebound, play a little bit cleaner of an end game here, and close out if they get a big lead, or will they just get mopped? Are they tilted? Who even knows? It's going to be interesting to see here. The mid lane matchup we're already highlighting for you, and yeah, it should be pretty Renekton favored for most of the time. Eventually got to figure that Blood will get strong enough to maybe contest some of this, but it's going to be a long time. And yeah, production, shout out to you for pointing this out. Wojtek,
There's an Ignite.
There's an Ignite. So he's playing to kill. Blood is going to run the teleport, I think rightfully so, just saying, you know what? I'm trying my best to live. As Rudy caught in the bot lane, does have to flash and heal. Level 2 hitting for the bot lane, and this is the second time, I believe, we saw an all-in from Swiss and Tail on the level 2 spike. Rudy maybe just not respecting the damage coming out, or that the level 2 is coming through. Just big mistake from him in both games. This time, critically, it does cost him a sum, as well as the heal from his AD. Last game, if you remember, it didn't cost any sums, but he was chunked. Now he's chunked, and they got no sums. And Wojtek is going to trade back onto Blood here. Wave crashes, and Blood finally gets to eat. I think CS numbers have to be bugged, right? Because there's no way they all have 0.
Yeah. What do you think about the Leona having both stopwatch and minion demats? obviously going for Glacial, the more aggressive option for Leona, but specifically those Submasters.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
an
wait a
interesting
second.
tech, but we'll get there in a sec because we have an Espen gank onto Lost in the Sauce here. Lost in the Sauce is going pretty low, but he does have that Haymaker coming up. He's going to have to flash out, but Espen has a second bandage toss, and once again, Espen ganks top, gets a kill. First blood to Pickles on Pizza.
Yeah, Music had to flash out early, but Espen just really carried that gank. Spurg looking to maybe do something in the mid lane, maybe.
Yeah, Spurg maybe looking to even it out. We've seen a lot of priority from him onto his captain's lane, but not able to find anything here. It is going to be very hard for him to get a gank off. I mean, unless he's able to connect with that elastic slingshot, there is no CC onto this Renekton. And you got to figure Renekton is trading way harder as, yeah, he's... Oh, he might have a solo kill here. Ignite goes down onto Bloodbath and Beyond. He is taking very low. Oh!
The
Can we
1
get
HP.
yeah, actually very low HP, but he is going to get out. Does have to commit the flash. Wojtek maybe kicking himself for not flashing and autoing there once, but probably figured he had it, and he darn near had it. Meanwhile, Espen going for an invade. Blood is still porting back to lane, so this is a good invade. Can Music collapse in time, though, is the question. Smite on the blue buff goes to Spurg. That's huge. The invade should just dissipate here, and yeah. You know, good
on
move.
The flank, that's risky to go any farther.
Yeah, good look by Espen, I think. Sadly, you don't win all those Smite fights. It just, sometimes it be like that. But, you know, I like the look. He's played aggressive, but he's, you know, I think from Espen, what we've seen this series so far is he's played aggressive, but most of the time, I would say almost all the time, he has been playing with his team. And yeah, you can tell who they're playing through this game. Flash Q from Swiss on the Leona. This should be Blood going down, but he's not going to go down.
No.
Is Swiss going to die to the tower shot? He is.
And Blood takes a kill.
And then
That's so
kill
tragic for
goes
Pickles on
to
Pizza.
Blood. Productivity coming out of Pickles on Pizza, but sometimes if you can't execute on those plays you're forced, you don't, you know, it turns around in your face, and that's a big kill over to Blood. He's got a lot of gold back in this lane. Huge mistake.
Seekers on that first back.
So yeah, huge mistake. Yeah, now he's, you know, this is accelerating this Kassadin pick to a point where he can exist in the lane. Already has the Seekers. It looks like he's pivoting towards a Tab Eyes by 2.
Yep, I mean, that's what you gotta do to keep safe, to be able to CS, you know?
It's going to be darn efficient here, too. Yeah, it's going to be really efficient in this game, right? We already talked about the lack of AP. I don't know if Music is going for an AP build. I would like to see Music go for a more AP-oriented build. I think you're never beating them out, or the set in the side lane with an armor build. So just, you know, go maybe at least an Everfrost into tank. I know a lot of people have been going for that tech on Malphite. Yeah, I don't think that's out of the ordinary, but I think if he goes Everfrost with the build, it could be pretty effective at adding just a little bit of supplemental damage. A lot of top laners in particular, I know Europe, Finn did it, and I can't remember, someone else did it as well in pro play, but it has been popping up a little bit, Everfrost in a tank. I think this is a pretty good angle, especially with the low range of the Blood Money's comp, but we'll have to see if that's what he opts for. Blood is going to pick up the Scuttle Crab, and yeah, he finds himself down some farm, but as this wave crashes here, and with the kill gold, you got to figure he's feeling pretty good considering how this lane looked like it was going to go early. Nearly got solo killed, barely survives, and then gets a trade kill on to Swiss, so definitely good moves from him.
To note, Swiss blew both his sums in that fight, so he's not going to have them for this fight right here. That's breaking out.
Yeah, but he is going to hit the E, so maybe it just doesn't matter, as there is going to be a trade onto Speedy and Rudy. Speedy eating a lot of damage, and so far tonight, the bot lane of Swiss and Tail has had their number in the 2v2. We've seen, I think, pretty much every trade, even or jungle assisted, going in their favor, right? So pretty dominant gameplay from the bot lane of Pickles on Pizza here. Completely polar opposite of what we saw the first time they matched up.
Looks like a dive was just called off by that pink ward, but
yeah.
They had rotated Wise down bottom.
Meanwhile, Spurg is down bottom, and I don't know if he's caught on a ward. Looks like he is going to charge the Elastic Slingshot, and it is going to connect on Swiss Army Cabinet. He connects the Q onto Tail Whip, which means he gets the knockback. Meanwhile, Rudy goes in, and Tail Whip has the ult. Is he going to kill Rudy? Rudy barely going to survive. Can Tail Whip flash with the Q? He can, and with the Aerie,
and here's the rest of
Tail Whip gets a 2v3 kill. onto the support of Blood Monies, and the play is not done. Espen connects with the bandage toss, but maybe a little early. Wojtek flashes in and gets the stun onto Speedy. He is going to get the kill, but it goes back,
Speedy gets the gold.
and Swiss is dead as well. So what was a 1-for-0 is now a 2-for-2 trade. It is still pretty good for Pickles on Pizza, but maybe a little rushed. Yeah, I agree with you, Sword. I'm going to name you if you're going to flame, but I agree. I'll flame right with you. That was way too quick by Espen. Espen needed to wait for the wave there. He forced the dive way too fast. And as a result, yeah, I don't think this is just trading.
Music
I
might not get out.
Oh,
there's the
music's going back in! I respect the hell out of that music. Let him know. Say, Blood, get the heck out of my top lane. I respect that. And it looks like it's just a straight lane swap. I love this if this is the case. From the Blood Monies, I think Set should have a way better time versus Renekton, but let's see. Maybe they are just going to swap back. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good lane swap. I think it's more favorable for both sides.
Yeah, but Blood is now itemized to deal with the Renekton, so you saw Malphite deal a decent amount of damage back to him, and it looks like Set is walking right back to the top lane, so
Right.
just
Let's
a
see if this
temporary
crowd goes
swap.
to Adrian.
Yeah, there should be an angle for Drake here, I think. I mean, they just saw everyone reset, so I mean, there's at least a gank angle bot, no? Yeah, we're seeing them collapse now. It looks like they're going to try to stack this wave and maybe look for a bot dive, maybe just get some vision too, who knows. But we can see Espen waiting in the wings, and okay, the call is going to be Dragon, it looks like, from Wojtek. And yeah, there's Espen as well. No one has a sweeper. They're not even bothering pulling it out, but look at this. There is nothing they can do. On the flip side, though, Blood Monies is going to be looking at that Rift Herald. Drake goes over to Pickles on Pizza. The trade we've seen so much in this league. Herald going over to Blood Monies. Not sure how I feel about that. I think
I'm gonna be honest. I like the Herald more than I like the first Drake. Drake doesn't mean that much. It's a Cloud Soul, whereas this gets you plate gold onto your carries.
I think I agree with you. The early Cloud Drake is not going to do a whole lot compared to this Herald, and Music is not being respectful of the fact that the Herald just went down. Ult comes back from Lost in the Sauce, flashed out by Music X. He does dodge the Elastic Slingshot, but the Stretching Strikes is going to connect and knock him back. Meanwhile, Spurg is ulting on this Zac, and they are going to find the kill. Lost in the Sauce picking that one up, and just disrespectful by Music. Didn't have the Unstoppable Force to get out, and as a consequence, he does go down.
It looks like they're not dropping Herald there. They're just going to let Sauce pick up some plates on his own. And it looks like there might be a dive down bottom. Okay, it looks like Watch is backing off.
Yeah, so full credit, though, to Pickles on Pizza. Yeah, they haven't executed it very well, but they are moving around the map really well in this game. On the flip side, it seems like Blood Monies has cleaned a lot up, too. We saw them fall pretty far behind as these rotations started to come through. This game, they've looked a lot better, as both Blood and Spurg are going to be able to get out here, it looks like. And yeah, Espen saying, I don't want to fight that far. I don't know who you got, who we've got, if we can win the 2v2 even. So the fight just dissipates.
Yeah, Espen had a really good first kill, but hasn't really done that much on the map. You know, he got the dragon, but...
Yeah, and a big blunder by him, too, on that bot dive. Can't stress that enough. Him going that fast really cost them what should have been a game-breaking play, if you ask me.
Yeah,
so,
4 kills down there for 1, maybe 0.
Yeah. And probably, 2 or 3 plates. Yeah, I mean, it would have been a brutally game-ending play, and instead it ended up even. But meanwhile, Espen is going to bandage toss and ult onto this Zac. Zac is forced to flash out. Bandage toss goes wide. Espen...
Looks like we got Zac's flash there. That was about the end result.
Yeah, showing some dominance on the Amumu pick. You'll love to see it, especially on, what is a slower champion. He's playing with that same aggressive pace with his team in the early game. Just as we started to say he slowed down, he said, not so fast. I'm going to go for the Zac, and he gets the flash.
I mean, this game is a lot slower than last game. It's a lot of tanky boys. It's really hard to actually end up securing these kills. We've seen a lot of fights where they just walk out.
Yeah, definitely lots of tanks. Not a lot of tank killing from either team. And yeah, we're starting to maybe see this matchup tilt. It is going to, looks like the full tank out of Music here on the Malphite. I guess probably what he's more used to. I don't like it, but it's what he's doing, so gotta go with it.
Spurg top, maybe looking to drop Herald or dive.
Yeah, Spurg with the Herald. Meanwhile, we have a dive in the bot lane. Teleport is coming through, but Speedy is charmed up. Speedy is dead. Meanwhile, Tailwhip is burning down, and Espen is going to fall. Bloodbath and Beyond, meanwhile, has ported in and has some damage onto Wojtek, but Wojtek turns and just one-shots Rudy. Double kill for the Renekton, and a 2-for-1 trade. Meanwhile, though, in the top lane, we saw the turret go down. Blood is going to ult out, and let's see if Pickles on
Tailwhip
Pizza
is in
can trade
lethal
back.
range.
Yeah, Tailwhip's dead. It looks like everyone on the side of Pickles on Pizza is so chunked that they just have to back here. It is going to be tower traded back for the Blood Monies for 2 kills for 1, benefiting Pickles on Pizza there on the bot side.
And while
Probably
that fight was happening, the Herald was dropped top. The tower goes down. I believe that's first tower. And that's a lot of money in the hands of Lost in the Sauce.
Yeah, definitely a lot of money for Lost in the Sauce. He is in complete control of his lane. He's done really well here, and his team has done a lot to enable him. Still, Music with a pretty sizable, I would argue, unexpected and really inexcusable farm lead. I don't know how he has that. Just, I guess, player skill on the CSing, but you know what? Sometimes that happens. You don't got to get every CS to win the game, and it looks like so far Lost in the Sauce is in a position to do just that through the top lane, and 1,000 gold lead for him.
Oh man, if you look at it, it's a lot of kills out from both mid laners, both looking to be, the commanding pillars of their team and, make the game about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Both mid laners. We talked about the volatility that we've seen so far in this mid lane matchup game 1. Both of these players are going to be their team's, if not central win con, they're darn important to it, right? As Swiss Army Cabinet is going to engage, but yeah, he's by himself. Aggressive, but you know what? No one knew he was by himself, but he might be caught for it as the ults are all going to come through, and he has just burst out. Music X looks like he's going to follow. 2 kills for Blood Monies as the setup for this Drake goes terribly for Pickles
Looks like
on
it's
Pizza.
going to Blood Monies.
Yeah, Blood Monies should get this Drake. Just discoordination from Pickles on Pizza. Swiss Army Cabinet eating in, and you can see everyone on Blood Monies like, oh, are we caught? But no, Swiss is by himself. And just goes down immediately. Yeah, very aggressive to be 1v5. And just gets caught and probably kills Music there too. So the port is going to come through from set to catch this top wave, so there's no turret traded back. And it's just a clean Drake and 2 kills for Blood Monies, which is resulting in them having a 2,000 gold lead. And yeah, you can see at mid lane, this matchup is turning hard for the Renekton. Blood bought into the armor early. He is building the Everfrost now, which is going to give him some health to back that up. And now Renekton not able to just chunk him out and bully him out like he was in those early levels. The Kassadin is now in a free scaling setup here. Should be pretty hard to move. It is going to be on Pickles on Pizza to radically change the course of this game, else they're going to face a level 16 Kassadin at some point.
And it's going to be scary. Yeah,
It's
I do
gonna
want
be
to
darn
note
scary.
that both Swiss, Espen, and Waj all have their flashes and ignites up. So, there could be a play.
Yeah, absolutely could be some plays here. All summoners, you're right, are coming up for Pickles on Pizza. You got to figure they want to force a play to accelerate the tempo of this game. I do think they get maybe not hard outscaled, but probably outscaled as this Kassadin and this Zeri accelerate into the late game. Tailwhip critically going for this poke Xayah build, which, yeah, has a lot of pressure in the lane, but he's
But they have a lot
not
of
quite as
tanks.
good. Oh, Swiss, you didn't have to do it to him. We see him blow the stopwatch. It happens to the best of us. Sometimes we forget which keys have buttons and which ones don't, and what those buttons do. But that's a big cooldown.
It
For
is
sure.
that Everfrost Kassadin that you were talking about. That's a lot of pick potential, and it looks like it's going to be Gore Drinker from Waj. So, just your general bruiser Renekton.
Yeah, and 4 melees from Pickles on Pizza means a lot of very easy to stun and root targets from them.
You're getting
That
a lot of value on the
Everfrost-
Kassadin.
Yeah, insane value on that item, I would say. And the Gore Drinkers as well should be very effective here, because you got to figure it's going to be a lot of people on top of each other with the limited range of both comps.
I gotta say, I would not want to be Pickles on Pizza right now.
It feels like it's getting out of
You're
control.
down
Right?
gold. The Kassadin is starting to free scale. No kills on or no deaths on him. He's going to become a monster pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Feels like the game is slipping out of their hands again. You got to figure they liked the way the early game was going, and just with some bad, discoordinated rotations, find themselves in a spot here where they're down 1,000 gold versus a Kassadin. And that's a terrifying prospect. You want to be up, especially with this counter pick you invested into the mid lane. You wanted to get a pretty big lead here, and you're just not seeing that so far.
And I think Soul ends up favoring Blood Monies, you know? That Infernal Drake does a lot of work on the Kassadin and the Zeri.
I would definitely agree. The Infernal Drake is going to supplement a lot of their issues, but obviously not going to be too bad for Pickles on Pizza either. You know,
Everyone loves Infernal.
everyone loves Infernal Soul. It's definitely never a bad thing to have just exploding damage on everything you do. Damage on more damage, yes please. But as we see, Spurg is going to Elastic Slingshot in. Doesn't have that much range, fortunately for everyone in the game. And we are kind of at a standstill here as the next Drake coming up in a minute 30. But just as I say it, Spurg, Elastic Slingshot's in, Stretching Strikes connects. Tail Whip does drop the ult, but Espen misses the bandage toss and can't get over the wall. Xayah Feathers comes back.
No stun.
And that, yeah, no stun, no fight. And just the Xayah ult burned. That shouldn't be up. I'm not sure 100% what the cooldown is. Looks like 68 seconds. So it'll barely be up before the Drake comes back. So at least there's that.
Oh,
But
wait,
Spurg is going to connect the Stretching
And
Strikes
TP.
there. Okay, port forced out of music. That's so big. So now Lost in the Sauce should have agency to just straight shove in the top lane and force someone to respond, or else you lose your entire base. Tail Whip didn't auto the tower there, though, so he gets a good trade, but gets chunked out himself. 50
He loses
seconds.
his heal.
Yeah, he did have to heal, you're right, and 50 seconds on Drake, he's got it back. That's a blunder from him. I think he could have just taken the tower and walked away.
And Herald top. Nobody's here to answer Sauce. This is going to be maybe 1 or 2 towers right in front of Dragon. This is
This is a
disastrous for Pickles on Pizza.
really big mistake. They have to force a fight here now. Tail Whip didn't get the back critically, so there is...
Swiss misses right there.
They're just disengaging, but we got a flash ult in from music with the solar flare coming out of Swiss Army Cabinet. Looks like Spurg should be dead, but he flashes out instead. Rudy with the quickness is able to escape, and meanwhile, the Zac passive is popped. Speedy Bandito pops the ult on the Zeri. Everyone on Pickles on Pizza is chunking low. Swiss Army Cabinet looks like will be the sacrificial lamb. Tail Whip trying to trade back with damage, but Speedy is just a monster on the Zeri, walking forward, getting some kills, but Wojtek on the backside gets some kills, and the entire darn time, look at the top lane. The inhib goes
Inhibitor.
down. Inhib for Blood Money. So yes, a 4-for-1 team fight benefiting Pickles on Pizza. Barely, I would
that's
say.
a cracked inhib at 20.
That's an inhib at 20 minutes. That's going to feel pretty bad. It should set up for some good Baron pressure, but I gotta say, inhibs taken can be, you know,
a curse.
they can be a curse, right? If you're not efficient in how you use that pressure that the shoving wave gives you, you're just giving them all the farm, and you have a wave that is perm shoved into their base, right? So it you know, you'll oftentimes see, especially if you've if you've ever played solo queue, this will happen. You maybe you get an early inhib, and if your team's just not quite coordinated as most solo queue teams are, you find yourself 5-10 minutes in with a huge XP disadvantage and a sizable gold disadvantage too. So you got to be quick about it. Fortunately, these are not solo queue teams. They are hopefully better than that. So we'll see. Hopefully some good gameplay here out of Blood Monies to use that pressure they got. But Drake did go over to Pickles on Pizza.
You do have to worry about the wave clear for Pickles on Pizza. Like, it's just Xayah, and that's not a Sivir, you know? It's not what they had last game.
Yeah, it's a really good point. They don't have someone to just AFK push the wave. Still, I think they should feel comfortable sending at least one of their 2 bruisers to the side lane. But meanwhile, as we say it, one of those bruisers is getting jumped on. It is Wojtek on the Renekton. He Gore Drinkers back to full health, and Q's heals a ton of damage, and the cavalry is coming. But meanwhile, he is going to get shut down and dropped down. Music X falls as well, and the members of Blood Monies are limping away on very low health. Lost in the Sauce is caught with the bandage toss, shut down, goes over to Espen. Meanwhile, it is a 3v3 here. Blood is going to ult back in, but Rudy, you're in no man's land, dude. You are very caught out here. Let's see what Blood Monies can do. Can they save Private Ryan here, as it were? Rudy is going to be looking maybe for the execute. I don't know where you're going. The blast plant is a traitor and just respawned right in front of him, but Rudy is going to get the execute anyway. Execute to Rudy. 2 for 2
Blood had a
trade.
lot of money, but he hadn't really shown up in these last 2 fights. He's just kind of been there.
Yeah, definitely not, you don't want to see a front-to-back fight from him. You want to see him playing for a more creative angle. Still, that fight was kind of chaotic in Origin, so you understand it, right? Like, it's not like he was positioning on a flank for a fight. The fight just kind of happened, and he's like, oh, shoot, I guess we're fighting now. But, yeah, I agree with you. Didn't really, I would say, do a lot in that fight, but they do rotate mid and get the turret off of everyone chasing Rudy
I'm gonna be
for his
honest.
life.
you want to fight in front of Baron, but Rudy just running for it, that bottom all the time, so it's only a single tower gained off that team fight, even though it was a demanding win.
Yeah, well, so 2 for 2 on both sides. But yeah, I agree. The win definitely felt more in Pickles on Pizza's sales there, given the way the fight ended, like health bars. But yeah, you're right. Chasing Rudy around sets them in a really, it kills any tempo they had, and Blood Money's just sneak a turret. As we see the gold here, it is going to be a 2,000 gold lead for Wojtek, so he's a lot more fed than I think we've been talking about. He is in a very good spot, and Tailwhip, again, has been a rock this series, but Speedy...
About equal money.
Yeah, caught back up in gold, so it is a very close lane, and Music is very far behind.
Very down.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the nature of the matchup, plus the way the mid game played out. Espen may be caught here, doesn't have the flash up just yet, and the quickness is going to come through to try and punish. Elastic Slingshot comes through onto Tailwhip. The Feather Storm, though, does go through the entire team, but Rudy is just going to be able to escape, and Espen just caught in a brush with no flash. Amumu doesn't have any free castable mobility, does need a target to latch onto with that bandage toss, and what that means is he is dead. Right in front of the Baron. It'll be interesting to see what they can do with that. Lost in the Sauce, meanwhile, splitting uncontested again. That's kind of been the story of this game. He's really been the unsung hero, not doing anything crazy in the team fight. But he's just, he's walking at towers and no one's walking to stop him from hitting them. And he's just doing his job as Sep, punching them.
A little bit of poke in the mid lane.
Yeah, poking in the mid lane.
Spur
More
going
than that, maybe Spur going in. There is no Featherstorm for Tailwhip. He's shut down by Speedy Bandito. Music X is caught as well, and that's a kill for Blood, Bath, and Beyond. It is going to be disastrous for Pickles on Pizza right in front of the Drake. They are going to respawn before it, but probably won't be able to get there in time to get a good contest off.
And you really get to see Blood's Everfrost putting in work there. Like, I think that extra kill, that just nails the coffin on it,
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely does. It probably means they get a turret. I gotta say, Blood Monies has been great about getting every bit. They're being very good about getting everything they can with these wins, right? So, like, we've seen fight wins from Pickles on Pizza, and they maybe take, like, the obvious one objective, right? Blood Monies is getting, like, the less obvious things and then taking the obvious one as well without getting caught most of the time. I think it's just a little bit more aggressive shot calling, but still measured, right? Because you're not seeing them walk into pretty nasty fights too often, and that's why they have a 4,000 gold lead. They are going to even out the Drakes here, and we've seen, a pretty big structure advantage. It is 6 towers to 2 taken, so yeah, like, kill-wise we're even, Drake-wise we're even, but you can see that whole gold lead is largely on those,
Towers?
off the back of those 4 extra towers taken just through better rotation by Blood Monies. As we are just going to see some wave clear in the mid lane. The wave is shoving in. Let's see if they go for maybe a look at the Baron. They did already get vision control, and they probably know the members of Blood Monies want to back, but it is just Blood backing right now, and he does have the teleport.
They're going to check right now.
Yeah, they probably have to, right? If you let this get snuck.
That's a lot of pink wards. It's the bait.
Yeah, definitely a bait for sure. They have no idea what's going on in the Drake. Music X is going to ult in onto Speedy. Speedy is caught, chains his seat, and goes down, shut down to Espen. Meanwhile, Lost in the Sauce is going to ult through onto Tailwhip. Tailwhip Featherstorm comes out, and he is trading damage back. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fight, we've seen Wojtek. He's doing a lot of damage, but just not enough. Tailwhip is obliterated by Bloodbath and Beyond. Same with Wojtek. Team fight win for Blood Money.
That was a chaotic fight, but you lose right in
all
front
over
of
the
Baron.
place.
But I don't think Blood's team has the damage to take the Baron. They don't have an AD carry. Their take is really slow. I mean, a commanding win. Blood did so much damage during that fight. Caleb just popped. Everyone just went down.
Yeah, and they picked the engage, but weren't careful about where this Zac was. And I gotta say, I know the poke build is standard for Xayah, but I would have way preferred a Gale Force here. You can see how hard it is for him to play around the Zac and the Rakan as well. When they're charging at you like this, I think you need to go a more traditional build, especially when you're not as challenged for range in these fights as Xayah would normally be. I think it was a big mistake by him opting for the poke build. Because, he doesn't have that extra mobility from the Gale Force, so he's having to blow his Flash and his Featherstorm way too quick in the fights, and you can see what happens if he gets caught. He he's just easy pickings for a Kassadin that is nearly level 16, so it's only getting worse, right? And meanwhile, I got to highlight AP Zach out of
Yeah, I
Spur.
wanted to bring that up. The
Yeah, that's aggressive.
demonic embrace.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, you build a lot of HP on Zach. Demonic Embrace gives you AP based on your HP. I think it's a good buy.
I kind of want to talk about Swiss's choice of going glacial augment this game.
I don't like it.
I think the aftershock is just better. I think he survives the dive level 2. I think everything just looks a little bit better. He's a little bit tankier, and that's kind of what the team would have needed.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's looked very squishy. I know a lot of people opting for the Glacial more than they opt for the Aftershock, but I agree with you. Aftershock would have made him look a lot more durable in some of these team fights. As we've seen, he kind of goes in and, yeah, maybe he gets an engage off, but he's pretty often being traded back very quickly. Maybe that's partially a condition of him being, and his team being behind in these fights. But Blood is going to Rift Walk over the wall. Does get caught by the W, but no ability to trade back onto him. As we see some posturing. Yeah, posturing around this Baron here. You got to figure one team fight win in front of this thing, and the game is over one way or the other. Right, whichever team gets it should be in a really good spot. As we see an Elastic Slingshot channeled by Spurg, he is going to find the knockup onto Espen and Music X. Quickness comes through and connects with everyone on the backside. This is a disaster for Pickles on Pizza and an incredible team fight from Blood Money. Speedy already is getting some massive damage down on the backline. Bloodbath and Beyond is terrorizing.
And that's a 5-0. This might be game.
This is a 5-0 team fight. You got to figure this is game for Blood Money.
Open and hip.
Yeah, wow.
Leave in middle.
They just ran through them like a buzzsaw there.
Death timer is looking
my
20-30 seconds.
goodness.
Maybe they come up in time, but it's going to have to be a hero play out of Swiss. I think that's honestly just the game. I was going to say, look at Blood's level. He's 15. He's already becoming scary. But once he hits 16, cool. It doesn't matter.
I don't think we're getting there. I think the game is over. What was a pretty close early game snowballed really quickly for the Blood Monies as we have a 2-0 lead for them in this series. They are dominating their semifinal matchup here, showing really, really clean gameplay, coordinated rotations, especially in this game too. Wow.
I thought the Kassadin pick that early was a little bit sus, but man, he showed up on it. He proved me wrong that, there was just no answer to the Kassadin. He could just unopposed dive onto the backline. He had to play a little bit safe, but the Renekton was going to be on your backline, so Blood was just free to assassinate Tailwhip.
Yeah, I mean, Blood was just nasty. You could see why he reached for that Kassadin so early, didn't want it banned out again in the second round of bans. Monster performance from him on that. It just made it unplayable for the Xayah, right? I critiqued his build, but what do? You Gale Force once, and then Kassadin Rift walks at you again, and it feels awful, right? We can see the damage charts, Bloodbath and Beyond, bringing it home. I gotta say, Bovie in this game didn't do as much damage, but he did exactly what he had to do. You're right. He found the opportunity.
So many turrets.
Yeah,
he got the gold lead.
He blew this game really wide open and made some of the decision-making difficult. We can see the damage to turrets, 12,000 damage out of him on the set. That's ridiculous. And yeah, it's back to the drawing board. I think this game, maybe Pickles on Pizza got pigeonholed a little bit too hard into counterpicking the matchups.
And the Xayah Rakan early, just picking the Xayah.
They took the Xayah early. You're right. They took the Renekton matchup mid, which kind of pigeonholed them into going AP top and jungle, right?
They didn't have the damage to kill Blood because they had no magic damage.
Yeah, maybe just lost their way a little bit in the draft, focusing too heavily on counterpicking and not enough on, what does our comp look like at the end of this, right?
Damage profile.
We got winning lanes here, but what do we do after this? We have no AP damage. We're falling off left and right. We don't scale very well. And yeah, you could see as soon as the game was even at 15 minutes, it was over. The way the gold scales on both of these both of these team comps is not the same. Monster performance from the Blood Monies here in game 2. Can they close the series out next, or are we going to see some life out of Pickles on Pizza? Stay tuned. We're going to cut the break. See you in just a second. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are in game 3 of this semifinal series between Team Blood Monies and Pickles on Pizza. We have seen a dominating 2-0 start from the Blood Monies. Will they close it out and send us to bed quick tonight? Or are we going to see some life out of Pickles on Pizza? I know I want to see some back and forth here, so I'm hoping that they drag something back here for us. I'm Bully. This is Matt. Matt, what do you got for us? What do you think about this series so far?
I mean, being in the 2-0 is really scary. You're on the edge. You can't afford to lose any more games. I mean, I think momentum's in Blood's team's favor. We haven't. I'm scared for Pickles and Pizza. I want to see a banger series. I want to see it go to 5, but it's not looking too good for Pickles on Pizza.
Yeah, and you got to start to wonder too. At what point does tilt become you threw the first game. You there's no other word to describe what you did in the first game other than throwing. And then game 2 you kind of just got steamrolled. So at what point do you start to just tilt, right? Like I know not to call him out, but I saw a particular jungler for them muted in their team comms after the game. So maybe he's lost a little bit. As we are into the draft here for a second. And then also one thing I want to say though, fatigue. Fatigue could be a big deal here too. We are getting later into the night. This is game 3 already, which is longer than most of these teams played in the average series.
And game 1 dragged. That was what, 45 minutes?
Yeah, that was a long game too. So, and even that second game wasn't that quick. Not really much to talk about here in the draft. Same bands, same side selection too. Yeah. So, yep, back to red side here for Blood Monies. I think that probably favors them. I think they want to give Blood counter pick when they can.
Yeah, the blind pick Cassidy was a little wild. It worked out for him, but still a questionable draft pick.
That is what everyone that all the analysts would call results-based analysis. I think it's terrible, but it worked. You're right. It definitely worked. And I think if nothing else, it forced Pickles on Pizza to deviate. There's no way they came into this saying, you know what, I think he's gonna B3 Cassidy. So let's prepare our comp for it. But that's what happened, and I think it maybe made them think twice. And yeah, there's respect ban
of the Rakan and Cassidy. Two new bans. They're changing up. What's open now that they didn't leave open last game?
So I think that leaves Jarvan open, and that leaves Mordekaiser open, and yeah, there's the Mordekaiser. Hecarim's open as well. Not sure if Spurg is willing to opt into it. I think
Xerath's open.
Yeah, Xerath fell through again this game. Trundle banned out from the red side. I think that's kind of the penalty. If you're going to be on red side, you're going to get the counter pick, but you probably have to ban the Trundle, or else you're going to see it coming at you. And yeah, we're seeing the exact same picks as game 1. And if you remember how game 1 went,
it was Mordekaiser favored.
It was definitely Mordekaiser favored. I don't know that I like him opting back into it, but they did eventually persevere and outscale in large part because of some massive play on that Ornn.
Yeah,
so you know what? Yeah, it worked. Bovie played the pick really well. As we are gonna just sit here and wait for this second pick. Spurg is keeping us in suspense. What's it gonna be? It's Poppy! All right, I hate it, but that's the Poppy. You see 0 dashes, but you gotta figure there probably will be some, so maybe not that bad.
Every champion in Espen's pool typically has a dash, whether it be the Hecarim, the Diana, the Mumu.
Maybe just preempting like a Hecarim. Yeah, not a bad take, actually. Yeah, maybe he's just saying, you know what, I think the Hecarim's coming, and that can kind of stop things.
Tahm Kench support?
I know what's coming. Oh, I know what's coming.
And it's the Kog'Maw.
Okay, yes, it is. Okay, they've been practicing this lane so much. Kog'Maw, Tahm Kench. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, he did tell me he loves this bot lane. Yeah, okay, so double tanks coming out of the red side here, and they're gonna opt for this Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw, not the most prominent pick in the meta, but is very effective at knocking down these tanks, especially when he gets to 2 or 3 items. And if you know Tailwhip, you know he loves this pick. Vayne pick response from Speedy, I hate that. I think that's gonna be very light in damage.
It doesn't punish the Kog'Maw.
It's gonna struggle really hard into Kog'Maw, and you're right, it can't punish that early game so well. You could also you could look at it and say, well, you know what, Kog'Maw doesn't punish the Vayne, and that's true to some extent, but I think Kog'Maw actually should be able to get some pretty good agency in this bot lane, which is not normal for Kog'Maw. Meanwhile, the one thing I'll say is Vayne is not a target that Music can just grab, right? If Music grabs the Vayne, he's probably still dying. unless he's really fed. So interesting to see. I'm
There's
not a
the
big
Hecarim.
fan. So there's the Hecarim ban out and the TF ban. I kind of hate the TF ban. And I'll be honest, the reason why I hate it is because I don't think either side lane is susceptible to TF. You have
I-
Tahm Kench, Kog'Maw in one side and Mordekaiser on the other. If TF ults at the Mordekaiser, he is trolling because he should just immediately die to the Mordekaiser ult.
I think
And
the
the
Kog'Maw's a little vulnerable. I mean, TK
Yeah.
can just eat him up and save him. But
yeah, that's what
I
I'm
think there's
saying.
potential. Like, it's a long cooldown now. So,
Yeah, fair, and definitely you're gonna see the 6 come through for the TF before the Tahm Kench, but still, I think that's maybe a little bit, tunnel vision. That I like. I think this was a really good opportunity for a potential Pantheon pick.
I don't
To
like
set
the
up
Thresh ban because
the
that's
2v2.
probably Tahm Kench support already.
Oh, that's for sure. Well, so the Threshman came in the first rotation. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm
you're good.
dyslexic.
You're good. It comes through weird. It looks very odd. But yeah, we see the Xerath ban. The Xerath ban out of Blood Monies and the Leona takeaway. First time we've seen that be available for Rudy. Both times so far, it's been grabbed by Swiss Army Cabinet. And yeah, I still favor this bot lane from Pickles on Pizza. I'm going to be honest. I think the Kog'Maw Kench should have a lot of agency. And if nothing else, with a weird bot lane like this, probably not something that Speedy and Rudy have practiced a lot into. Do we have a Rammus
Yes.
pick?
A Mumu. The classic. But Blood has counterpick here. Do we see his namesake, the Vladimir? Are we going to get a good matchup for that? I know he loves to play it.
Yeah, one of the 2 reasons he's called Bloodbath and Beyond obviously plays a lot of Darius, but people forget that the other half of that is the Vladimir, and he's darn good at it. I do like it. I think it could blow up a lot of these team fighting plans that Pickles on Pizza has. And additionally, you got to be a little careful because if music's on his game, he can just grab the Vlad and make it so hard to participate.
Very
Ari picked up,
safe.
yeah, very safe, good blind.
Good blind.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I definitely like it a lot.
What is Blood's spicy pick of the night? Is it his Blood? Yeah, Vlad.
Yeah, will he? What are we gonna see out of Blood here? I think Fizz is on the table. That could be good. Syndra.
I've never
There's
seen
no
Blood play
way.
that.
There's no way he goes Syndra.
No way.
Does he go
Maybe-
Syndra?
eh.
He's hovering it.
Silas.
Silas.
I don't know if he's played this in the tournament yet, but man, Blood is good
Yeah.
at Silas. He knows what he's doing with that, and
Good at the champ. I don't know if I think it's well. I mean, he can steal the
Amumu
Ariel and the Amumu
Mordekaiser ult.
Mordekaiser ult. So
There's some good
actually,
picks.
maybe not bad because how the heck
You
does
can
Tom?
get on the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, if he can get on the cog and just ult him, this is gonna with the mortal. It probably feels awful. Maybe not that bad of a pick after all. I never liked Silas. I'll be honest. I think the champ is bad, but with the mortal, he could potentially threaten this Kog'Maw. So maybe not so bad.
There is 2 beefy front lines between the Mordekaiser, Amumu, and TK versus Ornn, Poppy, Leona. But we have 2 shredders for that in the AD role between Kog'Maw and Vayne.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you, Mr. Spirit, for being on your game. I forgot to call it out. Apologies there. But we're going to bring in guest analyst and resident, the most polite man you'll ever meet, Spirit of Fate. Welcome to the desk. What do you got for us here? How do you feel about these comps?
Ooh. I'm actually trying to very quickly look through online wikis to figure out if Poppy's W stops something, because I'm trying to figure out if Tahm Kench can swallow somebody in the middle of a Poppy W, or if that counts as displacement. Because if it does, then Poppy starts to look really, really really If it doesn't,
I don't think it does. Yeah, I
maybe-
don't think it does, but we can check with chat maybe.
I'll keep looking. In general, I lean towards comps that have more sources of damage. In general, I think that putting all your eggs in 1 or 2 baskets is always a bit more risky. So on the face, I like Pickles on Pizza's comp quite a bit more. You have the potential for Mordekaiser to pop off. You have Ari, which from experience, I know Wojtek's very, very potent on. And as of yet, Rudy and Speedy this series have not been able to pressure Tail and Swiss.
Yeah.
Previously, we saw in Game 1 how devastating that can be, with Sivir just absolutely running away with the game up until she wasn't.
Yeah.
Or up until the rest of the team sort of fell apart. But sort of looking at this, if Tail Whip is able to get farmed, I don't really see a whole lot of ways that they
You
can
can go on the
really.
Kog'Maw?
Yeah, well, because the problem is they can't throw everything at the Kog'Maw. They also have to deal with all the other players in this dance. And the fact that the Tom Kench can exhaust and swallow Kog'Maw as needed, and Kog'Maw's running cleanse.
I'm not sure he's running. Oh, he is
He
running
is, he
cleanse.
is.
You
Yeah,
can see
he's
it.
running
We
Okay.
can't see
cleanse.
it.
So
Never mind.
So my gut reaction here is that Pickles on Pizza is the more balanced, reliable comp. There are some things that could work really, really well though, in the sense that Kog'Maw is not particularly mobile, so he's susceptible to Orin ult, to Poppy charges, to Leona ults, and more relevantly, the Tahm Kench and the Kog'Maw interaction can actually go sideways if Spurg is slick with his ult and is able to bounce the both of them out of a fight. Then the whole thing turns very awkwardly. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's
My
always the
chips are going to
Poppy
be
edge.
on Pickles on Pizza, but there definitely is room for a lot of outplay from Blood Monies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely agree with you there. I think I favor this Pickles on Pizza comp as well, but as the games get longer, you've just lost 2 in a row and it's getting late.
Fatigue.
Fatigue, mental strain, right? Really getting tired here and tilted. But Spirit, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for
Yeah, no
having
problem.
the wherewithal
Spirit.
to know that we were going to call you in, even though I forgot to announce it. So thanks for that, and thanks. Enjoy the game.
Rock on.
See you.
Goodbye, Spirit. So for both these comps, I think they're both really good comps. I have a small issue with both. Blood's comp has, a little bit on the low range. Vayne is your longest range, which not great. And the other side is really magic damage heavy for Pickles on Pizza.
Yeah, I think this side of, we've seen this out of Blood's team a lot. They're not drafting a ton of range. They're 4 melee here with a Vayne. That's going to struggle, right? But we've seen Pickles on Pizza at times, especially in that first game, maybe stretch a little bit too far.
Or bundle
At which
bias.
point, at which point the range is kind of not even an issue, right? Like if you're chasing that far into them, you're walking into their range, right? So who cares about range? It doesn't really matter that much. You kind of get rid of your own advantage there if you do that. But we are on the Rift for game 3. Matt, who you got in this game?
I want to say Pickles on Pizza. I want to see the comeback story. I want to see the reverse sweep. Maybe not to game 5. I want to see, I just want a banger of a series. We got some emotes out of Spurg, emote game on point. Also, to note, 2 Ignites out of mid lane. It's going to be a bloodbath here.
Yeah, I think this is the first time we've seen those sums traded evenly. I think game 1 it was Exhaust Ignite, game 2 it was Ignite Teleport. But yeah, this game they're both here to kill the other. It's going to be pretty cool.
Dark Harvest on Poppy. Is that the go-to rune for Poppy? I was thinking it was going to be like an aftershock maybe, but
It is if you're
it's spicy.
Spurg. He loves it with he likes to run Dark Harvest. I think most people run like Aftershock or what's the other one? The fast blue
Predator?
one. No, the other fast one. Phase Rush. Phase Rush
yeah.
is the other tech for Poppy, but Spurg, I've seen him do it before. He likes to go for the harvest.
Something to note.
Yeah.
On Rudy, we have the Aftershock. So maybe we'll see a tanker Leona this game.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that actually. I think this game would have been a good game for
Because
the
of
Glacial.
Kog'Maw.
Yeah, because of Kog'Maw. Keep Kog'Maw frozen in that backline. It doesn't almost even matter if you go down kind of quick. Because you're locking down that Kog'Maw, and him falling, you got to figure, not that he's the only damage threat, far from it. Wojtek and Music are going to have some things to say about it.
But it's all magic damage.
Yeah, that is true, actually. So Kog'Maw is one of those ADs that does a lot of magic damage based on his W, based on some of the items he builds. And yeah, every other member of his team is magic damage. Now, interestingly, a Mumu passive is going to buff some of that. But you're right.
True.
You're right. There is some efficient itemization if Blood Monies can find it here.
Okay, a little bit of poke down the bottom lane.
Yeah, just some poke back and forth. I think this is the least dominant bot lane we've seen them pick. No Leona this time, right? Leona's always going to give you a bit of an edge. That's going to be on Rudy now. So let's see if maybe Speedy and Rudy.
Maybe he takes the initiative.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not caught on level
Spurg.
2 this game, so. Yeah, Spurg is ganking Wojtek here. Charm lands onto Spurg. Spurg flashes back, gets the knockback.
flashes.
Wojtek has to flash, but Blood flashes and
Caught on the minions.
Dawn Abduct hits the minions. 2 flashes for 1 in the mid lane. Probably favors Wojtek. I think he was pretty darn caught there. Meanwhile, Blood is going to abscond in the mid lane. Ignite goes down onto Wojtek. Wojtek ticking dangerously low. Is going to just barely survive. This time it's him with the Ignite who lives. And Espen is on Blood. Blood is ticking down, but Espen is putting him on high heat with the Amumu. Burns him down and gets first
Action in the
blood.
bottom lane.
Meanwhile, we got action in the bottom lane. And yeah, Speedy and Rudy are awake and here to play now. Dominating this trade. Looks like they're in a really commanding spot here. All 3 health pots out of Tail Whip are gone, although same for Speedy. That is the second first blood as well that we've seen out of Espen. Last game he got it as well as Hold the Phone. Spurg is back mid lane.
With a solo kill.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't know if Espen didn't stay to help Wojtek push or what, but Wojtek should not have been left in that spot. It's either on Espen or it's on him for greeting. Hard to say which one, but yeah, definitely a big blunder. That should never be given back. But good on Spurg for noticing the mistake, right, and punishing it. You got to say half of a mistake is the punish of the mistake, right? And Spurg is running right back top lane. Lost in the Sauce misses the knockup though, and Music is just going to be able to walk away with the wave pushing into him. Is he going to freeze it here? Yes, he is. He's going to hold it against his tower, but that minion pathing is jank as hell.
But man, both these 1 HP Ignite lives in these games. It's
Okay, he's not freezing.
not as consistent of a spell as you might think.
Yeah.
A little bit lucky, living on the edge.
Yeah, honestly, it's baiting people in more than anything, it seems. Blood got maybe a little greedy thinking he had the Ignite lethal there. And yeah, unfortunate CS there for Music. Missing out, but he is holding wave in front of his tower, which is what I think he has to do. We already talked about it. This Mordekaiser is dominant in these prolonged trades early versus the Ornn, and the long lane makes them way easier to obtain.
The Kog'Maw's picking up a sizable farm lead. Also to note, Blood got boots early, so maybe he's just looking to dodge the Ari charms, or maybe make some roams early.
Yeah, I hope he does the latter. I think he needs to pressure out this bot lane. If they're going to shove like this, I think he needs to make a move to punish. Yeah, there's a farm lead, but that should mostly even out here as the wave crashes. Speedy hopefully is going to be able to catch all this, and yeah, he is. So just a 4 CS lead, nothing to write home about for sure. Should be a clean back here from Tail Whip and Swiss, and we're going to see this bot lane has been honestly pretty explosive, but the least explosive so far, right? Like, no kills, no ganks. It looks like, unlike the other 2 games, Pickles on Pizza so far at least, they're like, okay, let us 2v2. We don't need to force all these fights. Gank other lanes.
Damage from Watch.
Nice trade out of Waj. Has level 6 as well to Bloodbath and Beyond's level 5 because Blood died on the gank and missed some XP.
Yeah. What do you think about that Sheen out of Spurg? What's that going into?
Sheen out of Spurg. So it's got to be
Divine Sunder?
Sunder. It's got to be Sunder, right?
Is he going to play like a Trundle, play super aggressive with that Dark Harvest?
Yeah, I think Sunder has got to be the right item here. I think it's not bad. You got 3 beefy boys in the front line that you're going to get some pretty good value out. Spurg does drop the W, but Espen tactically misses it to avoid being grounded. Very smart by Espen. That's what we'll say it was.
Experienced lead out of Spurg, and he's trading in the top lane. Music's poked out and looks like he has to back. He does have TP up to get back there.
Well, that will mean he can't port to reinforce bot lane here, although Lost in the Sauce already used it, and Spurg is just pushing Espen around, trading onto him. The Poppy going to be obviously a lot, very favored in the 1v1.
Not letting him farm his own jungle. This Poppy's just on him.
Look at him. Spurg is running right after him here in the bot lane, and yeah, I think he's just going to go for him again. He is. This is bullying.
Can't go near a wall.
But
Spurg
hold on. Wait. Spurg, what are you doing here? Yeah, he maybe was feeling himself a little bit too much. I think he's got to execute here. Oh, he's gonna greed. This is bad. This is bad. And yeah, he should be what?
He's having a great escape.
Way, he just dodged vision like that.
He just got out. The god. Spurg MVP maybe?
He just
dare I say?
Yeah, be careful. You're baiting chat. But yeah, Spurg is wow. Spurg is a freaking secret agent here. 007 Spurg, and you know what? The consequences, they have no idea he's here. Flash comes out, Tail Whip quick cleanse, but he is going to be stunned immediately and goes down. Yeah, the consequence of him dodging on the fog like that is no one knew he was bot still. They figured he backed. And yeah, him staying there just catches Tail Whip off guard. Nothing you can say but well played by the presumptive MVP Spurg.
That was really solid game. I don't know what to say. Caleb just, you're exploiting the Kog'Maw. That's what you have to do to it, is just go on it, and it just pops. Just focus your damage, and,
Oh.
gotta shut it down early, make sure it doesn't get there. Some gold on the Vayne. Vayne's taking back the CS lead. Still very close in the bottom lane. CS leads are pretty close to pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, Tail Whip did miss an entire wave, though, when that crashed, which is going to be pretty bad for him XP-wise. Fortunately, it wasn't a big wave. Maybe only like half a wave or so.
Dive top.
But yeah, the wave is crashing in, and Lost in the Sauce is chunked. An interesting interaction is that Music can ult him to deny him access to the Ornhorn, but I don't even think it's going to get to that point. The Q misses, but the Bandage Toss connects. Charm connects on the Lost in the Sauce. The flash out of the damage, though, means he's going to survive a little bit longer, but ultimately still goes down. Music X gets the kill. No summon even built, but yeah, the Hex Tech Drake is going to go down, taken by the Blood Monies. So 1 kill onto Lost in the Sauce for 1 Drake.
Yeah, that's the first Hex Tech Drake we've seen all series.
Yep, true. First time we've seen the Hextech Drake. It will not be the Hextech Soul, which I think is sad. I love the Hextech Soul. I think it's so fun.
The little portals, getting to scoot around. You can get some really interesting flanks with that.
Yeah.
Looks like Espen is soloing out Rift Herald. In theory, uncontested. He is kind of close to a pink ward, don't get seen by that, Mr. Espen. But
this is one of those situations where I think it's such a delayed trade that it's not obvious that he's doing it, right? Like, so, you if you're Blood Monies, you're probably like, well, if they were doing it, they would have done it by now. But actually, no, they were doing it way late, and they just kind of sneak it there. So good on Espen to get it and maybe catch Blood Monies with their pants down a little bit.
But look at this pink ward line out of Blood Monies. You can see it all just down river. They have the whole river pinked. 4 pink wards all in a row.
This is amazing. I love that vision line from them. It's good stuff to see, and only 1 spare wasted pink ward in someone's inventory. I feel very strongly about buying extra pink wards. I don't think it's very good, but in this case, you can see the vision line is buying them a lot of information on where Espen is.
There's that musical.
The Death Realm coming down here, but Spurg is here to back him up when he gets out, and I don't think he's killing Lost in the Sauce in here. Or is he? Lost in the Sauce getting dangerously low. Bandage Toss connects from Espen, and the Curse of the Sad Mummy goes down as well. That's 2 kills for none to Pickles on Pizza. Meanwhile, Blood is here, but is just going to take the Curse of the Sad Mummy and walk away. Great rotations out of Pickles on Pizza.
This is the signs of life we need them to be seeing right now for the series if we want to see it go longer. Blood really hasn't done anything yet this game. Like, he's had some fights mid, that unlucky Ignite, but on the Silas...
Unlucky Abscond of Duck, too.
On the Silas pick, I want to see him, being more aggressive, making plays. So far, he's just been sitting and farming.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I would like to see him get to the side lane and threaten Tail Whip more. The one time we saw someone make a good move, Spurg, in that bot lane, he found a kill. Yeah, he died, right? Like,
so fast.
Yeah, the Kog'Maw is vulnerable, especially in these early levels, and I think if you tilt that matchup more and more in favor of your Vayne, it will buy you some solo advantages. But hold the phone, we got the Ornhorn in the top lane. Music X is ticking low and does not have the Death Realm shut down, going over to Lost in the Sauce.
Clean kill, nice and easy, textbook gank. Oh man, I mean, the Ahri's been doing a lot more roams, kind of what the Silas wants to do, but yeah, good play up in the top lane. Looks like Sauce is going to get some plates. And, still a fairly even game state. Gold lead is in Pop's favor, but, no towers taken. 1 Drake to 1 Rift Herald. Has the Herald been dropped yet?
I'm not sure, actually. If we could check that production.
No, it's still live. Are they going to hold it for this next upcoming drag? Is it going to last that long? But where do they want that gold? I would say put it on the Ahri or Kog'Maw, obviously. I mean, Music's been phenomenal this game, but probably put it on Kog'Maw.
See, I'm going to disagree with you. I think they can get the top tower with it, and therefore I think it's pretty valuable, especially in the next, 30 or 40 seconds, if you can get it, and then get the Mordekaiser out of lane so that you can rotate down. Yeah, just dive top, get the kill. You can see they're already looking for it. Pings down on a Wojtek, but it might be too late. Wojtek has to hit this charm, though, and he does connect with it onto Lost in the Sauce, but Lost in the Sauce ultimately too tanky. Music already used the pull, unfortunately, in the trade, but the Herald drop should mean the turret goes down. Are they going to allow Lost in the Sauce to get out? No, they're not. Lost in the Sauce does go down to the dive. Ultimately,
And
so
that's the tower.
yeah, some ultimates committed, but a kill and the first tower of the game going over to Pickles on Pizza. Great early game rotation. Find
They're
themselves with
uncontested on the second one.
2K gold lead. Yeah, they are going to get damage on the second one. I would like to see them reset here rather than look for the tower, though. Drake is coming up in the minion wave. They didn't properly crash into tower. Oh my, Spurg, I don't know if you want to
Spurg
fight
for the
this.
1v1?
You got, that's the wrong one. And yeah, he's
Drake
got a
in
lot of
30
friends there.
seconds.
Meanwhile, Blood got a lot of time on that mid tower, by the way. Can we get a gold toggle
3
real
minutes.
quick? Yeah, Blood actually picking up a lot of gold, evening that out. It's a little closer than before. Getting, I think
He's
that...
got to spend.
Yeah, but you're right. He hasn't spent the gold. With 20 seconds on Drake, I have to imagine they're just going to give this. And yeah, great rotation. I said it before. I think that rotation top is very good for securing the second Drake and evening out the Drake count. I think it unlocks Music to be a really dominant force, and you already see him porting to get here in time. I'm not sure if I agree with that.
It's 14 minutes. Those TPs are unleashed.
It's unleashed, but that doesn't mean you need to use it. I think that's maybe an aggressive map movement. I would have liked to see him just maybe walk and then port back top to cover the tower.
Lost in the Sauce gonna get some tower damage top.
Yeah, definitely. Smite going over to Espen. The pull is not going to connect from Mordekaiser. Should just be some posturing and then a back off here. I think Lost in the Sauce can get this tower now, given that Music ported to be here.
Yep, and he's got a huge wave. Looks like there is a Kraken Slayer out of Van. You know, there's a lot of front line to go through, and you know, not that much threat other than the. I mean, okay, there's an Ari Mordekaiser and a Moo looking for you, but you know, I respect the Kraken Slayer. It's aggressive,
well,
and if he thinks he needs to win, it's good.
It's aggressive, but I don't think it's efficient. I think Vayne is way better suited to run the shield bow. I think it you know, so much of Vayne's kit is baked into that W anyway, and it already is true damage too. So you're already kind of messing up
Doubling
these tanks.
down.
Yeah.
First
I'm not
item
a
from
big fan of
Caleb
that.
is.
Bork.
I haven't seen that. I've been so long, but
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna go a shield bow, but no, that's just straight up a Bork.
No, Bork Rush I think is really efficient here. Did get buffed a couple patches ago, maybe like 2 months ago now, on
Even on
range.
80s?
On ranged champs, yeah, they buffed the percentage it deals, and they buffed the stats on the item, I believe, overall, which makes it very efficient, especially against a very beefy team. By the way, Waj, that was a very clean prediction on the Silas dash with your charm to deter that threat onto yourself. I love to see some aggressive play backed with some skillful maneuvering to get out of the gank.
The gold isn't really where you want it for blood monies. You know, it's on your
Yeah.
Pape and your Orin. It's not your Silas Vayne. You know, that's really where you want it. Caleb being caught out here.
Yeah. Oh, but the great eat goes down by Swiss Army Cabinet. He is going to run away. Can Tailwhip get the heck out of dodge here? I'm not sure if he can, but maybe he doesn't have to. Swiss is going to flash out. Tailwhip is going to get caught by the Leona and go down. Probably shouldn't have stayed to deal damage, and Swiss might just be dead to blood here as well. Root comes down from the Everfrost, traded with the exhaust by Swiss. Ignite ticking down onto Swiss. The shield is coming back up. Blood is going to dash under tower, trade back
Minions?
onto him, and just barely escape with his life on a sliver of health. Meanwhile, on the top side, it should be the Herald take from the other two members of Pickles on Pizza. Interesting game here, right? We saw the Kog'Maw come out, and it is being punished. Not maybe as much as we would like, but it is being punished, right?
Huge
and
play for the blood monies.
on the flip side, though, the top side of Pickles on Pizza is just smashing this game, like we haven't seen them do before. This is Wojtek's best game by far. Yeah,
Music's
he looked
looking good on the board.
Yeah, he looked good on the Renekton, but he should look good on the Renekton into Kassadin matchup. And, like this is the one where he's kind of shown the most about him as a player. This is an even skill matchup. Espen flashing. All right, he's a little scared, maybe a little tired, a little jittery late at night. I don't think there's ever a world where he's dead there, but better safe than sorry, I guess.
Okay, Speedy looking to go for the Gwynsies. All right, so this is Speedy. Do you think he builds MR this game? Do you think he becomes an unkillable Vayne? I think Shield Bow plus MR, he just wins the game. However,
I agree.
He's looking for Gwynsies. He's looking for Kraken Slayer. Does he pick up MR this game?
I hope he goes Wit's End. I think Wit's End is really efficient here, but we will see. He could also just buy like a straight tank item after that. If he goes Wit's End into like a straight tank item, I think it's really good, but he might be caught out now. Charm connects onto Speedy, and he does just go
Destroy.
down Bloodbath and Beyond trades back with a stolen Amumu ult, but he is in the Death Realm getting beaten to death by Music X. Music X comes out with a double kill. The Ornhorn comes through the team, but only connects with the Mordekaiser and the Amumu. Orn, meanwhile, is running for his life. The 4 members that are present here of Pickles on Pizza are beating the 5 of Blood Monies. That is 3 kills for Music X. He is on a tear, on a killing spree, and he's not done. The grab connects, but ultimately the Orn just a little too
There's
tanky.
the Herald.
Herald drop should mean mid outer tower going their way. A minute on Drake. This sets them up beautifully for a contest there.
Huge fight from Pickles on Pizza. Lodge looking really good, hit the necessary charms, Music doing a ton of damage, getting Blood into the Death Realm so that he couldn't threaten the carries, and Tailwhip, trying to waddle up there, realizes halfway his team's dominating, and just, waddles back down to the farm.
Yeah, just doing the good Kog'Maw thing, like, oh, you guys are winning without me? That feels pretty awesome. I'll just keep farming and carry you guys later, right?
So, Mountain Soul. There is 2 hella tanky teams out
Yeah,
here. Granted, it doesn't
this is-
matter too much with the Vayne and Kog'Maw, but that
No,
Mountain Soul's really nice for shutting down either the Ahri or the Mordekaiser or the Silas.
The Silas, yeah, I agree. I think that whichever side gets the Mountain Soul should just win this game. I think it's really efficient. You love generally to see Mountain Soul if you're a Vayne because it's kind of a soul that doesn't affect you and only helps you. But still, like, hold on. We have Spurg stepping a little bit too far, immediately picked out, but is going to channel the Poppy ult back and does knock out Espen. Meanwhile, Wojtek is on a tear on the backside. Double kill for him already. Speedy is low and chunked, but kiting very well on this Vayne. Is going to get the shutdown onto Music X. Traded back by Wojtek. Triple kill for him on the Ahri. Lost in the sauce, taking dangerously low. Flashes over the wall. Wojtek not able to chase. Did have an Ahri dash, but opted to not run into the Ornn, I guess. Probably a good call. 3 kills for him. 3 for 2 in the fight overall. And a Mountain Drake secured by Pickles on Pizza.
All right. Yeah, Pickles on Pizza showing signs of life. They're not out of this series yet.
Yeah, absolutely not. This is definitely their best look. Well, I mean, the game 1 looked really good too, but we want to see some good game-ending movements from them, and they're definitely looking better in these team fights, I would say, than they did in Game 1. Game 1, I think they just got a big lead, maybe too big of a lead for their own good, and just played some of the team fights sloppily. Yeah, they won a lot of them, but it was more them throwing their wallets at them than actually playing the team fights well, whereas here I would argue they are playing the team fights legit well. Wojtek is hitting everything. And when you play against an Ahri that is proficient with this champ and is hitting all their abilities like that, it just feels awful. It feels like, it feels like you're CC'd forever. It feels like the champion is just permanently dashing around on reset. It feels so bad.
There's the Everfrost out of both mid winners, looking to make picks. And if you look on the side of Pop, they have both Oblivion Orb and Bramble Vest, really looking to cut into the Silas's healing. But Vayne didn't go shield though, so it's an alright pick. But that's a bit more healing reduction than I'd like to see this early.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think the early healing reduction here, not necessarily needed. I would probably like to see him tilt for more damage, but the matchup in the one-on-one, him versus the Silas, is pretty heavily dictated by that. So if he can cut those heals down, I think it's always going to be a good thing. And you can't discount what will probably be lifesteal. And I just want to shout him out. Look at what Speedy has in his inventory. That's some MR. He listened. I don't know if he's actually listening because that wouldn't be good, but hold the phone because Espen is caught. The Everfrost is going to buy him some time, but he is just going to go down.
Picking up money.
Speedy picking up some money. 3-2 on this Vayne. Again, I feel like has quietly walked into the game. Meanwhile, we have Music X in a 1v2 down here in the bot lane. Is going to go down to Bloodbath and Beyond on the Silas. And 2 kills just like that, right back to Blood Money, saying, hold on, we want to go to bed. We got the gold lead back in our favor. They're in a good spot to take over this game now with some big kills onto Speedy and on to Blood.
Yeah, that's right where you want your money. I was saying, all their kills were on the Poppy and Ornn right now, but now your money's, right where you want it. They're picking up towers too. Spurg's body blocking or guarding them. They're just gonna, pick up some money here. There's no really other objectives to go.
Yeah, 100% agree. They're going to snag some money. And this is, again, we talked about it last game. Blood Monies is very good about reaching for exactly as much as they can. They get, a lot of teams would have just backed after the 2 discoordinated picks. But, Blood Money's saying, no, we can group. We have a wave shoving. Let's snag the bot tower, right? Let's get some gold here. create a bit of a macro advantage, right? And get some of that standing gold off the map into our wallets. So you love to see it from them. I think it's paid really big dividends, especially for a team that is very snowbally. It wins and loses a lot of fights, right? Like they do lose a lot of team fights. We've seen them throughout. They're 2-0 up and they've lost a lot of fights, almost probably as many as they've won throughout the game. But they're just so good at when they do win, getting as much back as they can. That it really helps them in these series and puts them, 2 games up.
So, Pickles on Pizza kind of being shown. Sorry.
Hold on, we have Rudy being poked out, but is Leona not going to take enough damage to go down here? Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
Pickles on Pizza's weakness of being all magic damage is kind of being shown. If you look at all of the Merc Shreds, 3 Merc Shreds, 2 No Magic Mantles, and 2 Negatron Cloaks, all on Blood Monies. That's a lot of MR. They're definitely itemizing correctly. What do you think about the Ninja Tabbies on Sauce?
Yeah, I think the Ninja Tabbies are awful. I'll be honest. I think it's just autopilot. It's a dad debuff, we'll call it. Like maybe not the most in tune with proper itemization, but that's fine. You're playing Ornn, you're going to be tanky either way. I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
maybe cut those cog
shoot, they could be caught in transition here. Tailwhip is disconnected from his Kench, but is kiting Swiss masterfully here, as they are going to poke him down. Tailwhip is now, Spurg. Tailwhip is going to get the kill onto Spurg, but Music X looks caught out. He does get the ult down onto Lost in the Cross, though. Yeah, definitely buying time here on the Ornn, but Blood flashes in and gets a nasty Curse of the Sad Mummy onto everyone, but Tailwhip is kiting as best he can. Swiss eats him and gives him a massive shield too. He is stepping up to deal as much damage to Blood as he can, and he is going to kill him, but on the flip side does go down to Rudy. Meanwhile, Music is still alive somehow, and Rudy is run down by Swiss, grabbing the kill on his the opposing support. Ultimately a clean, not a clean ace actually, Sauce barely escaping, but a 4-for-2 messy fight going in the favor of Pickles on Pizza.
Tailwhip lived way longer than he had any right to. He was living by the skin of his teeth on the Tom Kent's shield and the Locket shield. Barely surviving that Ignite, and he was able to get a lot of damage in. Not to, discount the rest of the team. Music survived so long in the 1v3, buying his team the time, and Waj was just, putting out the damage. Spurg, that's a little interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if Spurg wins this if the rest of the team collapses, but, you don't know if you're Pickles on Pizza, who else has respawned and has made their way out here. I think it's just good to back and buy. Also, low mana for Wojtek, so probably don't want to fight. And yeah, you're right. Music, some absolute heroics there to survive. And on the flip side, Blood had a nasty Curse of the Sad Mummy that one-shot, it seemed like everyone. But Swiss Army Cabinet kept everyone just below death. Or just above death, rather. Keeping them alive by the skin of their teeth. And it really made the difference there. You saw Tailwhip put out a ton of damage before he ultimately went down, living on, about 10 HP for what seemed like forever. And same deal with Wojtek, was able to survive long enough because of that Locket shield to dash around and put in some damage and carry the remainder of the fight, securing a soul point position for Pickles on Pizza.
That's 2 Mountain Souls. That's, your tank line's really happy to see that.
Absolutely. The stat value of those is significant on their own, and it sets them up for a soul fight in 3.5 minutes. You gotta love the scaling coming out of them too. I know we mentioned that they are a little magic damage heavy, and it looks like, Blood is picking up just a straight Spirit Visage, it looks like, which I like. The Wit's End is now complete by Speedy Bandito. Full shout out to him. 2 Force of Natures out of the top in the jungle as well. So they're very much caught on that this team is heavy magic damage.
Yeah. Tunneling on the magic damage. The other team, tunneling on the anti-heal. We have a Thornmail, a Morellonomicon, a Bramble Vest, and another Oblivion Orb.
Yeah, absolutely. Tunneling on the anti-heal, I think it's good. I would like to see maybe a Bramble Vest as well out of Music X. Double heal cut is always the way on Mordekaiser. But maybe that's just me. Meanwhile, we've got some posturing on the Baron. Charm goes wide. Rudy with some dancing shoes here. Baiting some skill shots maybe, but probably all for naught. They're going to rotate mid, shove it out, and then try to contest some of that vision that was just laid down. Meanwhile, Spurg says, nuh-uh, not so fast. I'm charging in on Espen. That's aggressive as hell, but you know what? Whatever.
What do you think Tailwhip's building with that No Magic Mantle? Do you think he's going for a Hex Drinker?
I think it's a wit's end. I'd have to bet it's a wit's end. We talk a lot about the AP heavy, pickles on pizza comp, but as far as threats on tail whip go, those are also AP heavy, right? It's Ornn damage, it's Leona damage, and it's mostly Silas damage, right? All those are magic damage. Yeah, if Poppy gets onto him though, everyone needs to be reported. That Poppy should never be allowed to just sprint at the backline, right? There's enough tanks to where they should be able to do a decent job peeling. Silas, on the other hand, is more explainable because, if he gets by, it only takes a second for him to damage, whereas I would say Poppy, maybe takes a little bit longer to beat down on tail whip, but if he's allowed to just be beat to death by the Poppy, report his support, because the support needs to be on that.
Yeah, man. Okay. Looking like a kind of lull game state, waiting for that next strike to come up. Maybe go for Baron, but these teams have shown aversion to doing Baron unless, they get a clean 3-0, 5-0.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're not trying to throw games like Abarn did the other night by just jamming Baron. Probably not a good way to shot call. Love you all on that team. But yeah, they're playing it safe. They're playing it smart. We've seen a lot of these teams reach for, we already talked about Blood Money's reaching for exactly what they can. I think Pickles on Pizza has been good about avoiding some of those big plays. Maybe they don't always get as much as they can on the play, but at the very least, you cannot really point to any one, Baron attempt or something where they just whip the game, right? Like, they're very good at playing pretty safe.
Yep. It looks like Speedy's looking to pick up a Hex Drinker, being that he already has the Wit's End. What is Tail Whip building here? I am not too familiar with tankier items.
Yeah, I think it's Wit's End, right? I think it's got to be Wit's End. That's the Hearthbound with those are Wit's End components. So yeah, that's Wit's End for Tail Whip. Probably pretty good as we see a fight breaking out in the mid lane. Already Rudy is caught. Can't proc the Aftershock even before going down. Great chain CC from Pickles on Pizza. And with the support and, one of the big engage tools for Blood Money's dead, you got to figure this puts him in a really good spot to secure this final Drake and get the soul for themselves. Huge edge for Pickles on Pizza here.
Let's see. Posturing for the Drake, getting a good setup. They have the numbers advantage. Rudy's going to be down for, a little bit longer. They might be able to stall it out, but this should go over to Pizza.
I don't like them starting this, though. I would like to see them, with Mordekaiser, it's not a true 50-50. He should just ult Spurg here. He didn't do that. Oh, yes, he did. Okay, shout out to Music for using that. And Blood is already dead. Tail Whip is free hitting on the backline, not doing any damage to this Ornn, but it's okay because the rest of his team has killed the rest of their team. Wojtek is godlike, just tore through the team before he went down, and Music X is continuing to be a menace on the Mordekaiser.
Maybe those ninja tabbies are putting good work. The Kog'Maw's damage is.
I think it's the Anathemas. I gotta imagine the Anathemas is bound to him too.
Kog'Maw damage is disappointing there. Ooh.
Wait, respect to Speedy here, by the way. Speedy is going bot, and I think
getting a tower.
I think he'll get this. If nothing else, he'll get a lot of damage. Respect to Speedy for this. This is the same stuff we've always talked about. Like, just
Blood's
reaching
team
as much
makes the right rotations.
Yeah, they make very good aggressive rotations that are not always obvious, but usually pretty attainable. You don't see them throwing too much like that. They're just snagging stuff they can. That aren't so obvious. So great shot calling. Shout out to Blood for that side of things. I know he's a pretty vocal player, having played with him. So
to note though, there's the Mountain Soul. That means that Wit's End on Tail Whip is going to be getting extra value. All of your tanks, so tanky, and then that shield helps keep the Kog'Maw alive a little bit longer. It makes it harder to assassinate him. You have to try really hard now. And any tank item Kog'Maw decides to build, he wasn't really doing damage, but if he decides to build a tank item, it's viable. He does percentage health damage.
Yeah, and I think more than anything, it keeps the Mountain Soul off the other side. We already saw how hard it was for the Kog'Maw to beat on the Ornn. Imagine if he's got Mountain Drakes and Mountain Soul, right? That feels miserable. So, good by them to prioritize that, because I think if too many of those Drakes, even if you don't give Soul, if too many of those Drakes go over, this itemization is just too darn efficient into the heavy magic damage comp Pickles on Pizza has.
As you said it earlier, whoever gets Mountain Soul, looks to be in the driver's seat here, and Pickles on Pizza secured it. They've spent a lot of money on anti-heal, which is debatable, but they have, it's pretty close gold leads, but that Mountain Soul is providing a ton of extra value for them.
Yeah, you can't really quantify the stats that gives because it's a permanent scaling edge too, right? Like not only is it a lot of value now, but like there's no way to build a Mountain Soul, right? So even as the game accelerates later and later, it's a permanent edge to Pickles on Pizza that will not fall off. Now on the flip side, Ornn items are coming through level 16 now for Lost in the Sauce. He should
that
have
helps.
upgrades for pretty much everyone's items now. If he wants to give them out, but by the way, has only upgraded I think 2 of them. Okay, yeah, he's gonna upgrade.
He's upgraded Blood and Speedy.
So there's the upgrade now for Spurg. So all but Rudy are upgraded. So good on him getting those out quickly. That's honestly something that a lot of Ornn players are kind of slow with in this league. So I appreciate that he is like, no, I have my item. Let's get that down in case there's a fight.
Yeah.
But I do think Pickles on Pizza, it's same as game 1. It is their game to lose right now. They are in control. Way
They're
less of a
moving
gold
towards
lead,
Baron.
basically even gold, but yeah, with that soul, they should be just way stronger.
Do they force? I mean, the entirety of Blood Monies is bottom half, or are they just going to look for a bush bait like they did in game 1?
I think the second, if Spurg had actually gone for that gank, I think you would have immediately seen him go for Baron. But because he does back off, realizing that even if we can kill Music, it will just take too long. Because he backs off, I don't think we'll see a Baron take. But as I say it,
With
Pickles
the
on
Kog'Maw, they
Pizza,
take it fast.
yeah, they've completely cleared out vision too, so there is no vision here. And yeah,
Blood
you're right,
Monies
the
is aware, though.
Kog'Maw is cruising through it.
But they're not
Kog'Maw
fast
plus
enough.
Amumu. Yeah, they're not fast enough. As they get vision down, it's already dead. Great aggressive Baron call with Mountain Soul. Now the Baron, you gotta figure Pickles on Pizza, they're in a spot to close the game out. They have to close this game out from this state. If you can't win this, what can you win?
So something I have noted about the builds, there is no Void Staffs. There's the Blightning Jewel. Is that Blightning Jewel on the side
Lightning Jewel,
of Blood?
yeah. So
But
he's going.
no
Void.
Void Staff yet, and that's slightly concerning because just
Oh.
look at how much MR they've stacked.
As you say it, he hears you and builds it. So there's the Void Staff now for Void Tech.
What do you think about one on
And-
Music?
Uh,
Also, the double stopwatch on Music.
yeah, he did it game 1. I think it's good. I think double stopwatch is super valuable. I think no one ever expects it. Even in pro play, you see people struggle to press tab and recognize like, oh, there's 2 stopwatches
Right.
here. So in an amateur league, it's pretty much universally effective.
Right. On Tail Whip, which Zeal item is that going to be? Is that going to be a Runans or a...
Could be Rapid Fire, could be Phantom Dancer. Hard to say,
Phantom Dancer.
honestly. Yeah, hard to say. I don't know. I think Runans would be good here. Your 4 versus 4 melee. I think Runans is pretty efficient. I think it's generally good when you have a lot of champions playing into you. It gives you the opportunity to hit them all. And obviously, traditionally, a very strong item on the Kog'Maw. As we see some posturing, Elder is up in 30 seconds. Where the heck did that come from?
That's going to be game deciding.
Yeah, it is going to come
Blood
down to
Monies
an
didn't
Elder
get very
fight.
many dragons, so
But
it's here. It's now.
As we say it, the engage comes down. Music X is in the top lane, but the port is coming through. The Ornn Horn goes wide, but the
Tailwhip.
engage by Blood is onto Tailwhip, but Tailwhip is going to flash out. Meanwhile, on the side, Wojtek is down. There's a double kill for Speedy. Music X is caught. Ult goes down onto Bloodbath and Beyond, and he is going to kill him. Music X is going to stopwatch and does get the kill on Rudy. We talked about it. That's a double stopwatch from him, and I think the shield should be coming up. It is, but he plays his hand a little bit too much. Speedy Bandito versus Tailwhip.
Music living way too long.
Wow, Music lived so long there, and then both ADs were kind of just like daring the other to stop. It is going to be a 1-team fight for Blood Monies, but the health bars are so low that
It's
I don't know if they can take Elder. If it was just a normal Drake, they probably could, but with Elder, that's a little bit too much to bite off. Right now, they are just going to back.
Jungle's up. Yeah.
Yeah, it is going to mean that Baron is gone, effectively, for Pickles on Pizza. Only Espen having it up, and the duration significantly used up on that buff is going to mean that, that buff has effectively been negated by some crafty team fighting. And shout out to Speedy, by the way. He played that like a monster. Really well done. Killed Wojtek, killed Espen, and basically chunked out Music and killed him in the end, too. So he's piloting this vein very well.
Yeah, very good. He's started to pop off. He has all the gold, for his team. That's exactly where he wants to be. Meanwhile, this Kog'Maw's mythicless. I don't know how I feel about mythicless Kog'Maw.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is Jets champ, right? He knows what he's doing on it, I would presume. but we do have an Elder startup from Blood Monies. I actually love this. Force the Elder.
Caleb's not there.
This is a Terralip is here now, but you're right. Like they're gonna see this going down, but it is going down very quick. They have to go. They have to go. If you don't, this is a straight.
If you
flip.
lose this Elder, you lose the fight.
This Elder, you lose the fight, and they are gonna get the Elder Drake, and now they're team fighting into Elder. This is gonna be terrible for Pickles on Pizza. You have to figure, and they know that's the case already. 2 members are dead. Music X should be going down quickly afterwards, and Speedy is trying to make it a clean ace, chasing on to Swiss. Tailwhip can't decide if he wants to deal damage or fight. He is going to kill Speedy, though, and he's in a position to pop off, but the Elder Burn just too much. So it is going to be a 5-for-2 ace.
Tailwhip on the back end, picking up a kill.
He got Spurg with the passive, that's right. So it is only going to be 2 members left, but still ample time. Yeah, ample time for Blood to push in. Fantastic shot calling by Blood and the boys here. Forcing a 50-50 and using their Vayne damage to burst it down. I think that's as winning of a situation as you can create from this spot in the game. This comp has to force some crafty team fights, and force a crafty team fight they did. They found the one edge they could. They are coming back up off Swan, so it should just be in him, but they are still holding Elder Drake. So gotta be careful about overextending a little bit too far. You could still get popped by the Silas and the Ornn. Are just going to back off, though, after taking an inhib and a nasty save. I think if that kill doesn't come through on the Cog passive as well as the kill...
The Cog passive and on Speedy with just the auto trade,
I think the game might just be over. But masterful gameplay from Blood Monies. Great shot calling, even from behind, even into Soul, with, I would argue, an objectively worse comp at this point of the game.
There's signs of life on both sides.
They're just shot calling very well. I mean, that's just so conscious of where you're at in the game, right? Like, if you're ahead or think you're ahead, do you ever force a flip on Elder? No. Right? You just don't. Especially versus Mordekaiser, where it's probably not a true 50-50. But you're saying, like, you know what? We're behind. We're not winning. Let's try to find, what do we have to lose? And it's just that consciousness of where they're at in the game that has made this team so darn effective.
And Pickles and Pizza just wasn't there. They weren't there fast enough. They stuck a Baron earlier, but then Blood Monies just basically snuck that Elder Dragon.
Yeah, they didn't expect it. They didn't respect the burst damage that Speedy has onto that objective with the Vayne. And they have to be careful posturing like this because, yeah, most of the Elders are gone, but there's still an Elder for Blood and for Lost in the Sauce, which means that the burn should be on effectively everyone, especially if the... Oh, okay, Elder is just falling off, actually, so that means they can be a little bit more aggressive, but with the bot inhib down, they got to be creative about how they play this. I would have liked to see Music back and cover, but I think they're just saying we can't be split. We've seen ourselves lose too much, and oh, baby, in what looked like a dominant game, we are flipping Baron here. If you're Pickles on Pizza, I think this is probably the correct call. Force it, but the Ornn Horn goes down, and a huge ult is going to expose Tailwhip on the backside, but a great ult in return from Espen is going to peel for him. Meanwhile, Music X is in the middle of everyone. I can't see who he has ulted. It looks like it's Bloodbath and Beyond, and he is surviving in that ult. Music X is going to go down. On the backside, Tailwhip, can you deal damage? It looks like the answer is no. He can't chunk through this front line, and Speedy is terrorizing everyone else.
Kog'Maw?
He is cutting back, though. Kog'Maw is in a position to take it, and Wojtek gets the reset on the Spirit Rush. Can he finish the kill on the Lost in the Sauce to get the dash he needs? No, he cannot, and there are minions in the base. If Tailwhip goes down here, the game is over.
That's it.
I think the game's
just
done.
Couldn't find damage. He couldn't get into the fight. He was just zoned out for so long, respecting the enemy team, maybe a little bit too much, and just the Kog'Maw wasn't doing anything.
No,
and
is this how it ends? By death by minions? I think it does. The game has to be done here. I think they've done it. Blood Monies with 2 unbelievable comeback wins on the back of some fantastic shot calling.
That's a 3-0 for Blood Monies.
Coordination. Yeah, they get the 3-0, the victory in the semifinals. They are going on to the finals to face off.
Pickles on Pizza? They're out.
They're done, right? Great season from them, but ultimately just fall short in the semis. I'm sure they're going to be kicking themselves over that because you got to feel like in 2 of the 3 games, they felt like they had it.
All right, so game 2, Blood's the obvious MVP. This game, who do you think's MVP? And then, obviously, the series.
Let's see some stats if we can. I'm not sure, honestly.
I'm between Spurg, Blood, and Sauce. Sauce looked really good game 1. Blood looked, really good
I
game
think
2 and game 3.
I think there's a solid case for it being Sauce. I think Blood had some good gameplay,
He
doing
wasn't.
what he had to do, but I think there's a solid case that Sauce was just the man. I mean, game 2 was won in large part by Sauce just splitting, right? It's not as flashy. Um, I think there is a really good case to give it to Sauce.
Do we,
I'm
do we
on the
want to
kick.
take Sauce and Spurg? Because that Poppy ult in that last fight,
True. Basically
it,
won them the game there. It slowed the fight down so much they couldn't peel it. We got to give it to one. I
and
vote
game 1 on
Sauce.
Lilia.
I think we give it to Sauce here. I'm down to I'm
Yeah,
down to give it to Sauce.
I'm hearing we can interview both, so I say we take both of them.
Sure. I'm down for that. Let me
Sorry, I love Lilia a little bit too much. Spurg's my vote.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna tell them real quick to go to low 1 so that we can move them. But yeah, some fantastic gameplay out of them. Uh, an unbelievable comeback from them. As we do have, it looks like Spurg and Lost in the Sauce here are joint MVPs
How you
of
guys
this
feeling?
amazing series. Yeah, how y'all feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I was surprised it played out that way, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, I think everyone was. That's pretty crazy.
I mean, yeah, going into it, I mean, we had a tough time that first time that we played them too.
Sure.
And they definitely are a very good team. I think we just kind of won on the team fights is what it came down to.
For sure, for sure.
Absolutely.
Had a
Absolutely.
Good zoning on the
low.
Kog'Maw.
Yeah, good zoning on the Kog'Maw. We had Rudy with just the insane picks throughout, like just
True.
engages throughout all 3 games. I mean,
On the
Blood was
Nautilus.
yeah, that was nutty. That was
Yeah.
nutty.
Definitely found some big picks. I guess first question for you. We saw you guys with some pretty awesome coordination, honestly, rotating around, getting just a lot like who calls the shots for this team and like how does that unity and team cohesion come through?
I'd love to hear what Spurg has to say, but I feel like honestly, from my point of view, it seems like everyone's kind of calling shit, and it just like it seemed like pretty even communication. I think Blood is ultimately like the primary shot caller, and I think Rudy actually does a lot of shot calling too. Spurg, what do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and especially since like the beginning of the season. I mean, at the beginning of the season, it was a lot of just like people just throwing out ideas and Blood kind of making the individual calls himself. But now it's kind of just if any of us are comfortable with something and we see it, then we go for it. And obviously, as one of the veterans of the league and our team captain, we'll listen to Blood if he makes a call. But I think we all play a fairly big part in what's going on as far as our macro play.
Feeling
Absolutely.
going into your finals against Burnt Circuit Cleanup.
Yeah, that's gonna be wild. They seem like a very different team than when we first played them. I think they were our first game, right, Spurg?
Yeah, I'm not the right guy to ask for that. I don't even know who we
You don't
play week
remember?
to week, to be honest. But I mean, that's the thing is like with any of these teams and with the way this league has gone, especially this season, everyone is a contender for the title. So
Yeah.
you just got to make sure you prep for everybody. You do your homework, make sure your draft's good, and you go into it kind of level-headed and confident, but make sure you check yourself. Don't try to ego anything, or else you end up not banning in Aurelia game 2.
Right, right.
Absolutely. And
Impressive Lilia performance. Really
yeah,
loved it. Amazing sleeps.
yeah. And so speaking of level-headedness, we saw you guys come back. I would say twice, pretty big. Game 1 for sure was a massive comeback, and game 2, I
They
think
had
everyone thought it was a soul and everything. The game was lost. So, how do you guys stay so calm and level-headed and not just tilt off the planet when you're down like that?
I mean, I don't know what Bovey thinks, but I mean, game 1 we never felt like it really got too far out of hand. Like as far as the gold graph, yeah, it looked pretty grim for a while there, but I mean, when we were making our plays, we felt fairly confident in those, and like that game specifically never felt like it was out of reach. Game 3, like I think from our side, and I don't know if you agree, Bovey, felt like I felt like we were playing from further behind than Game 1 even.
3 Drakes,
Yeah.
4 Drakes.
I think honestly what it comes down to is like I feel like even though we were objectively behind, I think we always kind of knew what we had to do. Like it wasn't like we were scrambling or like it was like falling out of control. Like I feel like we always knew exactly what we had to do on the next play to try and like either get us back in it or like turn it or something like that. And it kind of kept working out that way, especially game 1 and 3.
Absolutely.
With those dragons and whatnot. Like we just knew we had to hard commit to the elder and then turn that fight, and then that just changed it. I think that was. I haven't looked at the gold graph, but I'm guessing that's exactly when it started flipping.
For sure, that elder play was unbelievably clutch. Well, as we're getting kind of late here, I'm gonna ask first you, Bovey, and then Spurg. You got anything you want to say?
No, I mean I think I said it last time I got to talk. But I just love playing with these guys. This has been such a fun season, and I'm glad I've been able to participate. It's been a really great time. So good vibes.
Yeah, I agree. I do think your previous teams might have set the bar a little low, so I'm glad that
Wow.
I'm glad that we
Oof.
can be better than them. But yeah, and I mean, I completely agree with Bovey here, and I mean, BCC can try and camp Bovey all they want, but it's not going to matter. He'll come back with those Ornalts anyway.
Yeah, those
Absolutely.
impressive Ornalds.
Yeah, clutch, Orn, Alts for sure. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming in
Mhm.
here.
Yeah,
You guys are
and
the joint players of the game, and good luck in your final series.
Thanks, folks.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
Well, that's gonna do it here for us. Matt, you got anything you want to say?
no, I just look out for TCL finals. We'll be announcing the date, and just that was a banger of a series.
Yeah. So I'm getting word that what was that, Sword? When is TCL finals? Sunday, to be determined what time. That is the immutable date. We're gonna figure it out. Announcement will come through on the Discord. But yeah, fantastic series. Maybe ended a little bit shorter, but I think we got some awesome back and forth gameplay, and it leaves you, you can't not be excited for finals. I know I'm darn hyped for it, and we will see all of you then. But until then, have a great night, and thank you for watching.
GG.